Let's go. Let's get it. We call it Bristol Dirt Nationals. No invites are needed. It's the Bristol Dirt Nationals. Come on if you want. We call it Bristol Dirt Nationals. No invites are needed. Just come and get some if you want. Hey, it's the Bristol Dirt Nationals. Come on if you want to. They know what a fight is. They know when they see it. They know what to do. And the cards get to beating. The low and the high and the bobbing and weaving. They're up on the wall with the lead that they're seeking. They're looking to win. They're looking to rule. They're splitting the win. They're riding the bull. They're thinking they can. Not worried they could. They're going for dubs. Not going for twos. Do they really want to falter? No, they want to fight. While they're going to the left, but they're turning right. No tomorrow on the mind. Thinking about tonight. Cause this king of speed thing is on the line. It's the Bristol Dirt Nationals. Come on if you want. Driving from the feeling from the back up to the front. You can take it serious or get slid if you don't. It's the Bristol Dirt Nationals. Come on if you want. We call it Bristol Dirt Nationals. No invites are needed. If you want the best, we got it. Although some will be defeated. Got the best from grassroots and the rest from Cup 2. It's the Bristol Dirt Nationals. Come on if you want to. Hey, come on if you want to. You are free to partake. All you need is a mentality to come up in this house. And if you're walking in, you better pack a lunchbox, boy. Because, hey, it's the Bristol Dirt Nationals. Come on if you want. Driving from the feeling from the back up to the front. You can take it serious or get slid if you don't. It's the Bristol Dirt Nationals. Come on if you want. We call it Bristol Dirt Nationals. No invites are needed. If you want the best. Bottom or top or the cars that I cross, yeah, I'm gonna need you. Let me show you where to go, how to run it in hot and what it leads to. I promise that the show I'm gonna put on will really please you. Come Junior 80 out, Barbie doll on the spot, come see me Malibu. And I don't care if they speak a lot. They're different breed with little needs, you they're not my type. Cause see to me, there's a sea of green and it's harvest time. And you're the sweetie pea, you're the bottom bee, come with me Malibu. And they can have all the seeds they want. They say to shut up, they say to be quiet. Others they say to please come out and find me. Make me a topic like Carson and Kylie. I see what you're saying, the system in line. The kid in the time and the shift in the 90s. DuPont on the line, PPG and the fighting. Your people denying the media giants. Don't give a shit to you, Jason O'Brien. Let me tell you. Yeah, they tell me I should talk about it. Well, come on, let's talk about it. I don't care if you're complaining cause your favorite driver on TV has already been bought. They say all I do is talk all this shit. Ask how good you be mean to kids. Talking all rude, narcissistic. Truth is the clue and the answer is this. How are you people so delirious? Honestly, fact of the matter is this. The kids who worked hard to live earned a few grand for a car, a chassis kit. Built from the ground, a safe for a rig. I lost them I found cause they weren't rich. Or 14 years old like Laurel Gordon. Not the next old California kid or the area code in Los Angeles. A cocky ass hoes like cars in LA and I don't even know if she is legit. But I feel for her though cause Teresa's a bitch. Like Gary's old construction biz, baseball in Kannapolis, turning hard on that old Sooner fence. At least it wasn't Claus that was used to.
We are putting in a tally, and hello is right. Hello is right, Spike. We are live.
Well.
We are live. How are you doing there, Mr. Wrestling Pro Wrestler Promoter Spike? Is that how we say your name?
Once upon a time, but that's me. So.
Once upon a time. Well, apparently the once upon a time you were a little smaller.
I was, yeah. That's like almost 100-pound difference, I guess.
Now, it isn't the liver. You ain't had no Liver King shit come out, have you? You heard about that, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've known about him for years.
Well, he was selling himself as he is a natural man. And now apparently it has come out. He's like admitted that he used steroids and everything.
Well, testosterone is naturally produced in the human body, so.
Right, and that's what he was selling, but he's admitted it now that that's a lie. At least that's the headlines I saw.
You know, the whole thing about all that is, everyone just wants to debate about if a guy does or doesn't, but they think it's just Popeye with spinach and that you don't have to put in work, you know?
Oh, I know.
So,
Oh, I know. Hell, just to lose weight, you got to put in some work, you know? Can't just...
right. That guy is busting ass. I mean, he's in his probably, I think he's almost 45.
Hold on. I'm assuming a lot of people have no idea who we're talking about when we say Liver King. Let me see.
Well,
if
that's all right. I mean,
no, I'm putting it up on the screen. Put it up on the screen right now. Hold on. Let me get this fixed.
all right.
But do you know who we're talking about? So we got some images here. It's this Liver King guy, and he goes around and acts like he's all natural, but apparently came out that he is not natural. He got famous for saying he was all natural, eating raw organ meats, right?
Yeah, everything he'd eat raw pretty much.
Right.
But definitely liver and marrow, bone marrow. Yeah, just pretty much all the parts of the animal.
Yeah, that seems to be the social issue here. But we have a completely other social issue here in the racing world. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, it's a 9 Central Time currently. We are waiting for more viewers to come in. And we have pro wrestling promoter Spike here. And he took a public stance, as you could see on the header image, when I made an opinion of the situation at the Dome, that I had an opinion, a heartfelt opinion on. And before we start this, I just want to show everybody something who thinks they know who the hell I am. This that you see on your screen right here is from 2017. This is on my page, the Chaz, which at the time was named Dirt Track State of Mind. I do believe at the bottom right of this screen right now, you will actually still see the Dirt Track State of Mind logo that I started all this on. This was my first video ever to be posted. And on this first video ever, we went 79K on the views, 100 some odd comments, 400 likes. There's like a million or 125 comments. Sorry, I wanted to exaggerate, but I couldn't. And in this video where I'm definitely looking way better than I am now. Geez, look at that guy. Tanned up, everything. In this video, I had already completed several years of track interminglings and promotion of events and promotion of concerts and organizing and managing businesses and helping manage businesses and managing sub-quarterlets and all this stuff while being announcer guy, commercial maker dude, dealing with ABC, Fox, trying to get mainstream media in the Dallas, Texas area. And unfortunately or fortunately, I have come to the conclusion, and in this video, I literally state how you just think these dirt track people are just a bunch of rednecks driving in circles. And I feel like I have been battling that image. Because that image, let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. You may, it's just bad, it's all this, it's that, it's the other. At the end of the day, I'm not saying what I believe it is. I'm not saying what I think it is. I'm telling you what the businessmen of this world are saying about us behind our backs. And I'm telling you what I've been told to my face when I've went to thousands of offices in person with the right materials, the right pitches, the right explanation, the right enthusiasms. And at the end of the day, this sport don't have no respect from the business sector of the world. And that's the biggest problem with this sport in getting sponsors and fans. I say in this video or the one on the screen, and I still say it today, that the world just don't respect us in the dirt racing world. They don't know what we do. They don't view us professional. They don't view us as anything special at all. Whereas probably the only sport out there that can legitimately say that your local racetrack could potentially just be as competitive as NASCAR. Our local basketball court, especially if you want to say Port Royal Speedway, for instance, local racing, 410 Super Late Models, their fields on a week in and week out basis are potentially as tough to compete in as a NASCAR Cup Series level. So we've been working on this stereotype, fighting this stereotype, in my opinion, for several years now. And maybe some people ain't addressed it, some people have, but some people ain't addressing it. Even me right there, I just said ain't, right? That's the wrong way to say it. Although I don't care about that. It's like I said, it's not something that I believe, because I know in this racing world that it ain't just a bunch of rednecks driving in circles. I know that just because you got an accent, you ain't a dumbass. I know just because of this or that or whatever the image may look like, I know that there's a lot of smart engineers in this business. I know that there's a lot of very intelligent people working on these cars and built businesses to even be able to afford to race. There's a lot of smart people in this racing industry and fans. But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, I think the smart people are slowly becoming, except me, the silent majority. And you could almost say that about the country, because the only voices you hear are the voices that are loud. And it seems like the decent people are not as loud as the ones who want to cause, as they say historically, ruckus. Now, I am traditionally known for starting ruckus. This video right here, very controversial video. First video out, I'm dogging NASCAR. I'm talking about how great we are and all this stuff. You know, we ain't just a bunch of rednecks in circles. But that perspective, this attitude is coming from seeing what the real world views when they view us. And that view, that misinterpretation, that incorrect assumption of what this dirt track racing world is what is costing us the ability to grow. And that is my opening dialect. And we have Spike. I just wanted some background, this whole rednecks driving in circles deal. Yeah, in my video, I was very emotional about it because I've been fighting it, and it's something very damn serious to me. And these little peckerheads on the damn internet saying, oh, you ain't raced a car, oh, you ain't did this, you ain't did that. I've done every fucking thing you can do, you fucks. So anyway, Spike, that's where I'm starting out. I thought this was going to be a live call-in, but I have to talk to some intelligent people, and I didn't see too much intelligence in the comment sections of my videos. I saw a lot of biased, emotionalist reactions. Spike, you're from the regular world in an aspectual way. I feel like that's how I'm coming at some of this stuff, from the regular world. I'm not stuck out and ain't went to a city in 5 years because of the traffic or whatever political reason. Spike, you are from the regular world, but you see things differently than me. I just laid out where I'm coming from, and I know you probably don't have a big explanation like I do, but what is your thoughts on the situation, obviously, that caused all this backlash for me, and me saying, not calling anyone a white trash or a redneck, but saying somebody could take this, show it to this, and that's the portrayal. That's how it could be portrayed. Not saying that's what it is, but how it could be portrayed. And that portrayal is what's hurting dirt track racing, in my opinion, from getting the respect that it needs to flourish. Anyways, what do you have to say to all this, Spike? If you're still there, who knows if you're still there?
I'm still here. I'm just listening to you preach. So
okay, if that's preaching, okay.
But what was your statement? You said that corporate America and the generic persons that they don't know about racing, or are you saying that corporate America looks down on dirt racing? Is that what you said?
They look at it as very like basketball. They look at it as the black top down the street. That's how. And then
you're saying that that's of no value to
there's value. There's value to it. I'm not saying there's no value to it, but also in anything you invest in, you have to worry about the image that you're invested into, so that your image is not viewed in any sort of way you don't want it to be portrayed or viewed as well. That's why when Larson had this N-word thing, everybody pulled the plug, because they don't want to be associated with that image.
Well,
right?
that's NASCAR, but what about dirt racing?
We're all businesses and racing is what I thought we were talking about, but we're talking about something else.
Right,
so
right.
you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm talking about just dirt specific. I think in modern day, the drivers of today and car owners, drivers, whoever's doing the nurturing and the gaining of sponsorship does not give any value to the business that's spending the money to put their name on the car.
Okay, hold on. So you're coming at it. I'm saying we don't even get the respect to get a sponsorship. You're saying what I've been saying and why I think we need to get this respect socially first before you even try to get respect for businesses that could come. We need to get respect socially because people don't want to put a name on a car knowing that pretty much return on investment on all this crap is nothing.
Yeah, and I don't think it has anything to do with respect because you look at a local dirt track, you know, in say Nowheresville, Iowa, right?
Okay.
And if I got a bar and grill and I throw my name on that stock car in IMCA stock car in Nowheresville, Iowa, there's a good chance that young driver is gonna tell all of his friends, you go to that bar and grill to support them. In fact, we're gonna haul the car down there sometime, maybe multiple times. We're gonna have meet and greets, autographs. We're gonna after the races go there and drink till 2 a.m. There's a lot of good value for that. Now, when you get to this next level, we'll call it the Regional Touring Act or maybe the National Touring Act. What are you giving me as a business? What am I gaining from this? Other than the fact that you're a rolling fin, a rolling billboard.
Okay.
What value, though, is that?
I mean, there's not much at all. At that point, you're hoping to be like a Brandon Shepard and land Budweiser, and there's a way you can represent that in every town. It just going to a local bar, period.
Sure. So
just like if you used to have Lowe's or NOS with or CarQuest with Donnie, you could go to any CarQuest. That's more national money, more national sponsors. But I would counteract and say, yeah, your local bars are sponsoring, but when it comes to local other styles of business, whether that's local furniture stores or local gas stations or local anything like that, you don't see that money involved in this sport. It's very rare.
Oh, right. And
that's what I'm talking about. Regional respect. Just that's why I say social respect is more important, because if you get the social respect, people want to be a part of what you're doing.
Yeah, well, and it's got nothing to do with it's not as if the dirt racing world is, some heinous act or something that is horrible, right? That the general public would, look at you in disgust to know that your family is at this event. It's nothing like that.
I mean, I hope not. No. I hope not.
Definitely not.
If we went, hold on, I'm going to say it just because I have to. If you're talking about just general society, wouldn't be disgusted. Okay, so, if we went to a general society area, let's say, for extreme examples, because this is a part of society, let's go to a college campus, and then pull this shirt out that says Pit Lizard, and we explain to them what a pit lizard is. And then we show them the phrase pimpin', and we explain to them what pimpin' is. And then we let them know that the person it's representing is below the age of 18. What is that going to look like?
Well, they're all listening to Cardi B.
I'm just telling you. I'm just saying. I know what. I think it's hilarious. I think it's funny, but I'm just saying. Sure. There's some stuff. Misogyny is pretty rampant in the sport, is it not?
I wouldn't say that.
It's pretty bad. Bikinis and girls up there is 90s material. That don't happen no more. Even the monster girls are fully laced.
Yeah, but maybe they need more of that.
Okay. Just saying. I'm just saying. There's a sector of society out there that would find that disgusting. There is.
Well, there's something wrong with them.
There just is. I'm just saying. I don't think it's right. Like I said,
those aren't the people that you're attracting.
I open this up by saying it's not that I believe it. I'm talking about what people see it as. That's what all this is about, as far as I'm concerned. It ain't about what I think. It's about what people think. I can't change the sport. people outside of this sport that have all the money and the opportunity and the people who are going to pay to come watch it are the ones that are going to determine if the sport succeeds or not.
Well, you're drawing from people that aren't going to be fans either way.
I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case. There's a lot of people just don't know the sport, but they are modern in their thinking that would enjoy it.
The sport is nurtured in the families.
I understand that. Okay.
What's happened is we've gone from the $10 or less a ticket, $1 for a hot dog, $1 for a soda. Kids under 10 are free. Meet and greet your favorite drivers. The what do they call them? Champ cards or whatever they're called, where you can autograph them, and that was what nurtured it. That's me, a little kid going to the races. That was me. My cousin raced, and his dad raced, and all that. And so we'd go, and then as I got older, Outlaws would tour through every once in a while. Shockingly, they ran radio ads, and they had ads in the newspaper. Well, there's a shocker. You see racing running ads in anything? Do you see them hanging posters anywhere anymore? They don't hit the street.
They don't. I mean, is that for our own safety, though, after some of the stuff I'm seeing?
No, it's just they're lazy because you've got – this is why. You've got the local tracks that are $10 yet that want the kids to come. They're running my local newspaper. But the Outlaws coming through, why do they need to promote? They're going to get the $45 a ticket either way. You're going to have the diehards that are always going to show up. But where's mom and dad and the two kids that they're going to, hey, do you know the World of Outlaws raced last weekend? No, where? Well, they're half hour away. I didn't even know. We go to the local dirt track every week, and the one on the other end of the state we could have went to. Well, why aren't they getting? Why don't they know about it? Well, that's the problem.
Yeah, that's a problem. I mean, I don't know. See, I think where we're mixing up our issues here is you're coming from the status of you went and asked somebody, or in your scenario you just painted, you're saying the World of Outlaws were here, and they're like, I didn't even hear about it, is what you're saying, right?
Right.
I'm coming from the perspective of you go and say, hey, the World of Outlaws were here, and they say, what is the World of Outlaws?
Sure.
That's the reality. And that's the reality.
And I get what you're saying, but
so the representation is bigger than anything on what people see today. Because it's trumping the World of Outlaws. It's their first taste.
Well, and that's where do you get free exposure? So you need to get over-the-air television. And the only way that you're going to get sprint car, late models, etc. I mean, I go to the local bar and grill, get fish fry on a Friday. MAV TV was on, and the Lucas Oil late models would be on.
Right.
So...
But that wasn't reaching nobody. Nobody's tuning into MAV.
It's not because it's a review, but it's not that impressive. Quite honestly, watching late models on MAV TV, unfortunately, just isn't that impressive.
Well, the deal. Well, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no, but you get back in the day, I'd turn on TNN as a kid, and I'd be watching World of Outlaws, and man, you could, watching a sprint car on TV is still pretty damn cool. So that's where they're missing the boat. If Tony Stewart can get the XRX series and turn that into a storyline every time it was on, and stage his little fights and all that stuff, and I had buddies that haven't gone to NASCAR in 20 years go, oh my God, you see that SRX series with Stewart, and he got into a fight with so-and-so, and then Paul Tracy got pissed at this chick, and it's like, holy cow. I mean, it was a great storyline for them. Well, if you had World of Outlaws sprint cars on CBS or whatever network, it would draw just like it did back in the day. The only reason Knoxville National sells out is because they had that 7-8 year run on TNN. That kept the fan base alive.
You're saying that's what...
Because you look at
the
crowd,
Nationals alive.
Plus. Yeah, because it's all 60-plus men in the crowd.
But not much anymore. I mean, it's up in the age, but are you saying sprint cars are like that? Because late models is pretty young.
Yeah.
I think
sprint tires. Sprint tires. I'm just talking sprint tires right now. So
yeah, but isn't that where you find your more younger drivers? The sprint car world's littered with younger drivers. Therefore, that should equate to younger fans.
Yeah, well, give it 10 to 20 years when all the baby boomers die and the Knoxville may not sell out.
I don't know if that's the case. I really don't. I don't think so.
The only thing saving Knoxville is it's a good party.
Which one is
it?
It's
a hell of a great race, but you got to convince somebody, hey, 25-year-old blonde girl that likes to party, you want to come to this and spend $45 a night to watch racing, and then we're gonna booze up. I mean, she's gotta have some exposure to racing before that. I feel for her to even be interested in that.
Well, it depends on how you sell it. No, it depends on how you sell it, because I know plenty of those girls that would love to go to a Dallas Cowboy game or a professional basketball game or anything that's considered top level. They respect that.
Oh, absolutely.
They respect that. That's my point. If they viewed it as something like that, then they would want to go. Yeah. But it doesn't carry that respect. Socially. It doesn't carry the social respect. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, what sells it? Is it just because it's a big mass of humanity with a good party till 4 a.m, or and there's speed involved? I mean, there's the Crandon off-road races up north in Wisconsin that people go to, and they just party for 3 days straight and could give a damn about the off-road trucks,
Yeah, it's sad how racing has become a more so just a party venue. Is that sad to you?
Right. I mean,
I think that's sad, personally. I don't think that's great.
Well, right. I mean, if you told some of the people at Crandon, the off-road truck series, right, and you said, hey, do you know that the Greaves family is here? They're the best racing family in all of off-road racing. Oh, I don't know that. I have no clue. I don't care.
That's sad.
I'm here to get drunk.
Well, I mean, off-road trucks died when they stopped going to stadiums, in my opinion.
Ben used to have TV, and they, you know what I mean? They used to be on TV.
They definitely got more relevance than sprint car racing, because if you ask the regular person, you ever heard of an off-road truck, they'll say yes, but if you ask them what a sprint car is, they may not know.
In my business, when guys will say, what do you do this weekend? I'm running down to Iowa, going to some dirt track races. They'll go, oh, like in Crandon, like the trucks in Crandon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that has more relevance than
yes,
dirt track.
Big time.
Yeah,
big time, because it's a truck. Our sprint cars look like a dune buggy that fucked a tractor. Regardless, onto the situation. It got attention. I don't know if you knew this, Spike, that it was apparently newsworthy for the place that actually exposed me and Kyle Larson's interview that we had. It's got a story written on it on Essentially Sports, which these people are pretty interesting when they make it. And this story of the whole issue at the Dome, in my opinion, got more attention than the Tyler Erb situation, which there was a guy on TikTok. I was trying to find the video earlier. I got a text sent to me. There was a guy on TikTok. I wish I could help his, hold on. Let me get his name so people can go watch it. What's his name here? That's Behind the Wheel 21. He basically goes off on a rant, and his rant is consistent of what Tyler Erb did at the Dome, all the adversity, the father being dead that no one knew, and racing under those conditions, and winning that race, how he did, the moment with the hugs and the reveal of the death in Victory Lane. That is a ESPN Essential Sports something moment that I don't want to say because something else happened that was funny, that seems to be getting more attention, that it seems like no one's caring about the Tyler Erb situation. Like, this is trumping, the joke is trumping the reality. You know, what Tyler Erb did, what that guy was saying deserves to be on ESPN or some highlight reel or somewhere. I agree there. But the other way, the joke is getting the attention from everyone. They want the shirts of the joke. They don't want the Tyler Erb shirts or anything. Ain't concerned if there's some special thanks dad, shirt from the dome that he won coming out. They're worried about jokes. And I'll tell you what, it should get ESPN, but it don't got no respect socially to garnish a story about it. So what is your opinion on this Erb situation? I believe being kind of overshadowed by this joke of a situation.
Well, ESPN isn't going to cover anything other than they're going to have their top 5 craziest things, right? Like, were you mad when T-Mez fell off his midget and it got top 10 on ESPN? Of course, like, it got exposure, and honestly, that got him a following even more.
Okay.
Like, he became more of a fan favorite because of him falling off his midget when he celebrated.
Okay.
Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, that actually got on the ESPN top 5 of the day or something.
Yeah, the only other time I've seen dirt racing on the top 5 is the Prelude to the Dream. And the guys on SportsCenter were saying, wow, it looks like Tokyo Drift. What's that? Had no clue what it was. But since it was drivers that they respected behind the wheel, it got ESPN coverage. It was the NFL players driving the AAA vehicles.
Well, sure. Now, in the parallel to the background of the world I was in, you'd see a football player do a tackle, and the announcer would go, "Wow, that's like all-star wrestling." They would mock something that happened on the field and call it all-star wrestling. But then all of a sudden, wrestling, Vince McMahon started buying TV time, and it was national, and it became pop culture. And all of a sudden, it was, no, you don't make fun of wrestling now anymore on the commentary. You're going to promo the WWE live Friday night at 7 p.m. So the whole different aspect now that they had. Well, so that's where I go back to the whole idea of, if the sport actually promoted itself, bought TV time, and made it respectable and cool, then it would turn into something where ESPN would possibly cover it, etc. But no, the Erb thing, what can be said? He won the race.
Yeah, it's movie-esque.
Yeah, but it was unknown. See, you gotta understand.
But now it's known.
Truth be told, if he would have told, if the word would have, this is nothing on him. I get it. It's private. You don't run around everybody. Right. But if they would have known before the feature, say the announcers, ladies and gentlemen, this is unprecedented, but we've got word that Tyler Erb's father passed away just the day before the start of this, and we just found this out, and my goodness, we are moved by this, and how is he going to handle this event? We are just talking about
unfortunately, if it was a promotional angle to what was happening
if they would have known, they could have put it over. And now imagine if he's battling and he wins, and Tyler Erb wins the Dirt Nationals, and in light of the loss of his father, and then his father is with him, and that's huge. That would have sold. But you're seeing this play out with this, you see the hug, the crying, the embrace, and in part of you could say, well, my gosh, he hasn't won a race in a while. He was kind of struggling towards the end of 2022. Maybe it was that, maybe it's emotional because, it's been a little bit since he had a victory. And then all of a sudden he says, yeah, my dad passed away. And you're like, oh, my God.
What?
And then it's like, well, now send it to the tower, and they're moved and they're speechless because they knew the father and they knew him well, and they're like, oh my God, like we can't even talk. So then they send it back to Blake, and it's just, second place, third place, and and they honestly, those guys, I don't know if they even heard the interview, so they didn't touch upon it at all.
Right.
So, but now imagine if that would have been known beforehand. And I'm not saying you got to script your whole life to make it entertaining, but
right.
That's why it didn't get any publicity or anything like that, because it just came out of nowhere.
But it's still known now. I mean, like I said, the guy on TikTok's bitching about it right now, because it's like, this is a story that if it was any other sport and this was happening to one of the stars of the sport and happened in the way that it did, it would be the biggest news out of the dome. That's my argument. The reason it could not be the biggest news out of the dome is because of the joke that was bigger for some damn reason.
Well, and why isn't the dirt world making it a story? Why are they not making a...
They're worried about selling T-shirts and laughing.
Why aren't they making a 20-minute documentary, showing pictures of the family and showing his dad and showing him, and, why are they not making this into something... the best thing they did on Flow was that storyline with Tyler Carpenter and Hudson O'Neal. That promo video were about 10 minutes long. That was a great promo video where they explained the heat that they had with each other. That was great.
Yeah, it was.
And so Flow could actually become, well, the streaming is useless anyways, but the fact of the matter is they could create a little bit of a reality series just off of the weekly racing that it develops, and they could have actually probably turned that into a segment. And maybe they are. I don't know.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. You brought up the Carpenter-Hudson O'Neal deal. Obviously when I made my comments on that other issue, and people saw how I had, stood behind Tyler Carpenter in past years and even stood behind the Carpenter-O'Neal kind of video. I promoted about it. And even when Kenny Wallace had his situation on Saturday night, somebody texted me a very prominent name saying, waiting for that video tomorrow about Kenny Wallace, kind of talking shit. I'm like, to me, that's different. Does that make sense to you? To me, it's different when you win the race or it's a competitive element. To me, that is just different. You are mad, you're pissed off, you're happy, you're celebrating. It don't matter what it looks like at that point. You earned it. Why is this person getting this attention? Because they won. That's why a big reason if Erb finishes third and tells this news, it's sad, but for it to be with a win, that's why it makes it even more, granulous. I believe, though, when a Kenny Wallace situation happens and he's dancing and throwing, doing whatever, Tyler Carpenter's years past got out, all this stuff. This is kind of okay. I just don't think, when a race machine that someone spent millions of hours on and welding and all this stuff, that it should just be, that money that it takes to buy that. I don't think we need to be portraying that, you could just treat it as a joke, because why would anyone outside the sport not treat it as a joke if the driver within it is portraying it as one?
Who are you talking about specifically?
I'm talking about the As the World Turns person.
Who is that?
I can't technically say the name. They're telling me I can't, in my ear.
Who's telling you this?
This is undercover agents.
Am I able to utter the name?
I mean, I don't know. Apparently, I might be in trouble. I'm so scared.
I don't know why you'd be in trouble for anything.
I know. This is back to hypocrisy, Only liberals believe in cancel culture until you say something that someone don't want to hear, and then the hypocrisy shines.
Well, and before
I'm just saying, I think there's
what
I'm saying. With the Mefford situation is what I'm saying is I think that there's a difference between what Kenny Wallace and Tyler Carpenter and other drivers have done in a moment of victory versus a moment of I should be shit-faced pissed. I should be more concerned.
Well, here's what I'm going to say before I name drop the name that you can't say. Notice something
That's a joke.
In particular.
It's a joke, by the way.
Huh?
That's a joke. I can say.
All right. Oh, okay, great. So, Here's something that the dirt world, the fans, and those that promote tracks and those that announce at tracks and those that film at tracks need to take note of. Why are we talking about an event, the Gateway Dirt Nationals, and in one night we've got 5 topics of discussion that are carrying on through the week, and they all have amazing emotional storyline, passion, fun, funny, etc. Wrecks. We've got youth, we've got experience, we got veterans, all of it mixed into one. And what the track's got to realize is the difference is the Dirt Nationals, they get up close and personal and they interview the drivers right on up within the action, and that's what creates stars.
Okay.
And if these tracks got to start buying better a microphone so they ain't cutting out all the damn time, which is terrible, and getting a better interviewer, not some one of the guys' girlfriends, and that's not a knock on any of their girlfriends because I get it. Like, a lot of those girls are talented, they're very good interviewers, but we need someone that's going to dig. We need someone that might have to, pull the scab off the wound when it's sore so we can hear them piss and moan a little. I mean, stuff like that. That's what's going to create the interest, because otherwise if I'm a fan at the track and I go to the event and there's a big wreck and a guy gets out and he kind of does the little shake of the fist and the old fuck you and then walks away.
Yeah, but that's a competitive element. That's
right.
why I'm all right with the Carpenter O'Neill deal, or even the Kinney Wallace celebrating after blowing the roof off. I have no issues with those types of dramatic
That's great.
moments.
But what I'm saying is the fan there wants to hear. I want to hear what Tyler's got to say. I want to hear what Hudson's got to say.
Okay.
And they did that through that video package.
And there's people who liked what one person said and hated what another person said. There's all these different opinions of what those people said.
And you got Kenny Wallace. It's like, damn, he's 59 years old and he just ripped it and won the B main. He put it in the show. I love it. I want to hear him go nuts for that.
Right. Exactly.
Because there's a 59-year-old man in the crowd drinking a beer going, damn, I'd feel that way too.
Yeah. It was. I was there. It was awesome.
And then you got the 16-year-old kid that is just out there ripping it, and he rolls the thing. Okay, what is the driver feeling after he gets in a wreck? I don't know.
I could give you an idea of what a driver feels like if they earned that race car and had to put all their life and earnings and sweat and tears into it. They sure ain't laughing.
Right. Well,
they
then
sure
I
ain't
want to
laughing.
hear that.
If they got
I
a
would love
sponsor,
that.
if they got a sponsor who helped them get there, and they just junked their money, they sure ain't gonna laugh about it because they know that sponsor's looking at them.
Well, and I would love to hear that. If some guy got put into the wall and there's someone else's fault, and he says, "That son of a bitch put me in the wall."
There you go. There you
$50,000.
go. That sounds way better. I would rather hear that than a laugh. It's not funny to me.
Well, but it's different because it obviously didn't affect him in that way because, well, maybe it didn't cost him anything.
Okay.
Or maybe it did, but he's just feeling the adrenaline because he's a young man and he's just like, holy hell.
Okay, you just don't see what I'm saying. You don't get my angle on it at all. I understand.
Well, no, what you're saying is you think he's being disrespectful by just, getting out of the car and doing an interview saying about how it felt rather than showing the remorse for the fact.
So in the sprint car world, don't we even look down, or even in racing, if somebody just leaves the car there and walks back to the pits?
I don't know. I don't really care.
I mean, I've seen people be like, "Oh, well, that's kind of disrespectful. He just left his car."
I mean,
but he's mad. Obviously,
I guess that's rare. That's a rarity. But I mean, in some cases that happens, and it's I don't know what the reason is. I mean, sometimes you're just like maybe maybe he's pissed and they're like, dude, get to your trailer. You need to get the hell off track because you ain't going to be doing nothing.
Well, okay, let me do it like this then. And me and you, we both have experiences on both sides of the wall. And what I mean by that is there's this big ass wall in between the fender racing on dirt and the open wheel racing on dirt. I don't know why, but it is. And this is something that I don't think would ever fly in sprint car open wheel race. I don't think anybody would get it. I don't care if they are 16. I don't know this for a fact, but I just think and I don't condone child abuse, but if Ryan Timms did this, I think his daddy would whoop his ass in front of everybody. I don't think this would fly in open wheel racing.
Well, open wheel racing.
You know what I mean by that, right?
Yeah, but open wheel racing is kind of a child trafficking ring in my
No, that is so disrespectful. That is a hit. You are a pro wrestler because that is a hit piece, sir. That is a hit piece.
You talked about that. How they're starting them at 3 years old.
That is not logical. That is a hit piece. I'm not saying midgets, okay? But even in the midgets, the kiddies written out the midgets would probably get their ass whooped too by their daddies if they did some shit like that.
Sure. So what's the difference?
The difference is respect. That's what I think.
How do you not know that his old man didn't?
I didn't say that. I'm just saying the reaction would not be in the sprint car world if something like this happened. It would not be so receptive. There would be a level of what is okay and what is not. And I think maybe that's possibly the icons. You know, we do look at sprint car racing, and you see the icons have been these. You joke about it all the time, how all the sprint car racers are little bitty skinny kids like the Jeff Gordons and Kyle Larsons. You know, that's their icon, so they look up to be like them. And has that made the sprint car world more trying to be NASCAR because the icon of their sport is a NASCAR driver for 30 years now, or what? And the late model icon is a Scott Bloomquist? I mean, what's the difference there in that behavioral tendencies between the sides? Because I just don't see this being accepted.
Because they're taught to not respond. They're taught to be void. So now when you see a young man being eccentric and outgoing, it's considered disrespectful.
Okay. You don't know what I'm talking about. That's fine. Okay.
No, I get it. What you're saying is you expected that he should have had some
professionalism
and been upset at himself and had remorse for the situation.
And I wanted him to start crying on camera, right? Is that the exaggeration you're projecting now? That's not what
I don't know.
saying.
What should he have done when the mic got stuck in his face?
I'm not saying I should tell him what to do. I'm not saying I should. But
you're saying
he could do it. Well, okay, so then that comes to my next idea. Can racers handle fame? Because technically he can do whatever he wants, but then technically everyone can have an opinion of what he did. So I'm kind of like the only one that I know of personally, publicly, that has said what I said. And I know there's a bunch privately who agree. But they got their panties in a wad for one negative thought of what happened. If these racers, if that guy had, or any of them had real fame, how would they survive? Could they survive?
Right, well,
because look at everybody thinks Trump's great. Go look at what people say about him all day. Okay? So can racers handle real fame?
Well, but then the most famous drivers in America, the NASCAR drivers, are trolling dirt track guys. On their Twitter.
So you're talking about Denny Hamlin and Danny Dietrich.
Yeah, so can he handle fame?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know if these they like trying to make a name for themselves and all this. I don't know if they can handle real fame, because let me tell you, when you get real fame, you're succeeding if 50% of the world likes you. Like the greatest people we could think of in human history, most of the time, 50% of the world don't like you.
Well, sure, it's going to be 50-50. There's probably half the people listening to this say, fuck Spike, I hate him.
Well, I know. That's
what I'm saying. And the other half say, fuck the Chaz.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm having to explain myself over and over and give these different examples because the world has reacted to my one opinion, and they even reacted to my one opinion the way they acted, which is, if you want to be famous, the way they reacted to me is extremely unprofessional. But how would anyone in this racing world react to real fame? We're in an ego sport. These guys have to be ego stroked, I guess, to exist, or they can't take it.
I don't think they've ever had the. I think that they probably have never experienced what it's like to be loved or hated, right? Like that you're gonna, you go to Pennsylvania tracks, right? And Dietrich comes out and half the crowd boos and half says fuck you and the other half loves them, and same with DeWeese. And it's split. There's people that are like, fuck you, DeWeese, and it's like, whoa, he don't care.
Yeah, but see, most of these guys, they get to leave the racetrack and they don't have to deal with that the rest of the week. When you have real fame, it's like that your entire life. That's kind of the trade, they say, and in fame is all these harsh, you hear the actors say they wish they never would have had this life, blah, blah, blah. And it really comes down to that kind of you're judged every single day. And people say bad things about you all the time. People you don't even know hate you for whatever reason.
Well, look at Tyler Carpenter.
Right.
Tyler Carpenter is hated by all the purist late model guys. Like every single one of them in the hits, like truth be told, don't really care for the kid.
True.
Because he kind of gets a little reckless out there.
True. But then he backs it up with winning as well. So that's why he's respected. Right.
And the fans love him. And you know what? He don't give a damn. And he'll even on the mic go, well, it's too bad because I'm the better racer.
Right.
Even if he isn't, he still believes that he's the better driver.
This is true.
And so young Charlie Mefford, rather than, and I get it, he's a young man, and I believe he's 16, and, he reacted the way he did. He showed his real self. He was expressive and comical and whatnot. And he's got a fan following because of it.
For how long? How long though? Tyler Carpenter, is he another Tyler Carpenter where he has a fan following for 1 week of the year, and it's gone for the rest of the time?
Well, but if Charlie can go and sell 500 T-shirts.
But
in that weekend, fine with me, right?
I think the deal that happens with Carpenter, and I don't know if it's his fault, financials or whatever. The reason Tyler Carpenter's fame doesn't last past the Dome is because he don't go out there and start winning and kicking ass like he does in the Dome. People only like people.
Look at return on investment.
Well, people don't like people who can't just consistently knock people out. Once you stop knocking people out, they don't want to pay to watch. So they like people who could talk, but they like people who back up what they talk. That's why McGregor's a nobody anymore, because he's lost too many times.
Well, and that's where young Charlie, he just, he's got to say, and I'm not telling him what to say, but I'm just saying, he's got to say, hey, you know what? Pimping ain't easy because I'm the pimp lizard pimp, and that's the way it's going to be. And I'm just going to go out there. And if I put the damn thing on its hood again, I don't give a damn because I'm out here to win. And I don't care if the Chaz don't like me, and I don't care if Flow Racing don't like me, because all I care about is that the
and that's how you handle real fame. You don't go.
Yeah, that's all you gotta say is I want the fans to love me, and
right. And you honestly, if you want to be successful, there was a comedian that made a joke about it. It's like you don't just want one guy on YouTube talking shit on you. You want 1,000 guys talking shit on you. That's when you know you made it.
Shots was the most hated man in sprint car racing, and now everyone sucks his ass.
But that's because of my great interviews with Donnie Shots.
Right, but now all of a sudden they go, well, damn, the guy's won a shit ton, but he's a nice guy, and I like him.
Right. I halfway feel.
Where did racing go wrong? Why didn't they ever let us know Donnie Shots for the 10 championships before?
They're worried about selling T-shirts. They don't love the sport. They don't love the people. They just want to make that money real quick. Who cares what I do to it? Who cares what it is?
My God, if we would have known who Donnie Shots was 10 championships ago, my God, everyone in the crowd would be giving him standing ovations.
Well, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, I believe, but.
Well, I'm just saying he's a homegrown kid. I mean, his folks busted ass at truck stops and holy shit. I mean, the kid just, he's living the American dream.
This is true. This is almost as true as the Rutledge story.
Oh my God, poor Rutledge.
Poor Rutledge.
He's on 5 dating apps.
Oh God. Don't tell
5
these
of them.
people who Rutledge is. Do not do it.
I don't even know his real name. It's Dylan. Right?
Right.
Dylan Cooley.
Yes, Dylan, the announcer from the World of Outlaws.
Yeah, the late models. But then he, I think he did some of the fake modifieds out in New York.
The fake modifieds?
Well, they're not IMCA or UMP or.
They're definitely not those. They're definitely not those.
Yeah, those are real modifieds. So
this is true.
That's like Charlie Mefford modified. That's real modified.
Right. Question: do you think that there's like a difference between, and I think this is real, like what the term redneck is, like within the dirt world, or just like kind of woodish societies versus what the term redneck means socially? Like socially, I feel like redneck is viewed as like, I look at it like, somebody just likes to, hunt, fish, and, loving every day like Luke Bryan, but then they make fun of him. But, but I feel like socially it's looked down upon. Like white, low class, wife beaters, drunks, racist, unintelligent, poor, child abusers, that kind of shit. Do you get that? Do you get that vibe when you hear somebody out in the societal world kind of use that term versus how you personally view it?
It's just tossed around. I mean, a guy in blue jeans and boots and a ball cap and
Right.
I mean he looks like a redneck.
Redneck. But then what does that mean? Or is that
Right.
just all
but
personal?
If you're down south and someone said, no one would say like, oh, he looks like a redneck. Like they'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? That ain't a redneck. It's just all conditional, I feel.
Right. It's stereotypes. It's all stereotypes.
If you have a southern accent and that's about it.
Right.
Truth be told, that's probably redneck enough.
I don't know. I think terms are important.
Why, you think Charlie's a redneck?
I didn't say that. Why are you trying to box me into an accusation?
Can you, on the record, state that you did or did not say that Charlie's a redneck?
I said his actions could be portrayed as such.
Where's he from?
Kentucky.
I thought he was from Mississippi.
Kentucky. I only know
okay.
that because I was told by somebody his dad was looking for me and he was bringing his Kentucky boys with him. That's all. That's how I learned he was from Kentucky.
Kentucky boys?
I guess. Pretty sure Kentucky.
Kentucky Fried Chicken, though. You ever had that?
That is a little fucked up to say, just saying.
It's good.
Oh, I mean, I'm not doubting you that Kentucky Fried Chicken is good, but I don't like mass-produced food places. Just not for me.
That one's pretty good, though.
Belton, Kentucky. It's official.
Oh, okay. Okay, and he's
I got to get
from,
the county on that one.
Yeah, he is from Kentucky.
Yes.
I think he's in the chat room, so
Okay.
his lawyer is too, but
Okay. That's great.
But no, who cares? I mean, shoot, you interview a guy up here in the IMCA tracks in Wisconsin, we all sound like the Avery documentary up here.
What is the Avery documentary? Can you elaborate?
That's on Netflix, to create a murder or whatever it's called.
That's pretty bad. Hold on real quick.
We all sound like we all got the Dahmer accent up here. I mean, that's the way they,
I'm scared of Jeffrey Dahmer. I don't even want to talk about it. It's actually very, very interesting on the Dahmer deal.
I was a kid when that went on, and I actually thought, in my childhood logic, I thought that he had his friends over and they would die, and he didn't know what to do, so he just decided to cut them up and eat them.
That's pretty sad. That's pretty
That's
sad.
how sheltered I was. So I had no clue that he was, raping them.
He raped them? I didn't know. I didn't need to know this, first of all. I didn't need to know this.
But anyways, no, how about Dylan Rutledge Cooley? Y'all should hear this one. Knoxville, it's 4 a.m, and the Dirt Vision announcer, Dylan Cooley, is wandering around outside Knoxville. He sees us, runs up to us, goes, "Hey, guys, do you know where I can get a cab or Uber?" And we go,
in Knoxville.
"Yeah," we go, "Dude, it's like 5 a.m. almost in Knoxville. What are you talking about?" "What do you mean?" He's like, "Yeah, I can't get any Ubers, or I don't know about any cab companies." I go, "Because there is none." So we gave him a ride to his hotel, which was like 40 minutes away.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I did see in the comment section that Charging Charlie did say he is a redneck from the backwoods of Kentucky. Kentucky, my Nicola. Kentucky.
Well, there you go.
We put the number in there. Anybody can call in. I don't know if we can do 3-way callers on this scrambler I got. I'm all high tech to where nobody can know my real number.
Charlie, it's about time that your voice is heard. We want to hear about the legend. We want to hear about you, the future Hall of Famer, Charlie Mefford.
He was a friend of mine. He was a friend of mine on Facebook. I didn't even know it until he messaged
Charlie,
me.
we need to hear about it, brother. We need to hear about it. I bought your shirt and hoodie because of that situation. I put $100 in your pocket, buddy. You better call in.
I've already invoiced him for the free promotion on the low. I put him out to the sprint car world.
Any damage to that car has been covered through T-shirt sales.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's called Reverse Psychology Promotion.
Hell yeah.
The number one promoter of Stone Cold was Triple H, the enemy. The number one promoter of Hillary was Trump.
Yep.
The number one promoter of Biden was the deep state. No, I'm just playing. Anyway.
The number one promoter of Charging Charlie is the Chaz.
I did not say this. I think Flow Racing is the number one promoter, which they are out for themselves at the end of the day, so.
And the number one detractor of rides, Uber, is Rutledge Coolidge.
Rutledge. I think we got a call here. Hold on. Let's see if we can put it in here. Call not available. I'd have to hang up with you, and it'd have to be one-on-one with the charger.
Hang up. Call. Take it.
Oh, my God. All right, let's see what... Wait. Can't talk if you send me the voicemail.
Calling.
All right. We got his number here. We'll try to get both of them in here. I think I could keep you on the line. Hold on. Let me see here. Nah, I ain't going to give his number out, but I could put it through my actual phone because the program we're using here isn't going to work. We'll see if we can get him through the actual phone here. You may be able to hear this. I don't know. Can you hear that?
Oh, I love it.
Hello.
Oh, my God. We have the man. We have God here, ladies and gentlemen. He has rose from the flipped wreckage, spewed his hatred onto my heart, and now he has called in to the Chaz. We have made it happen. Do we have Charlie Mefford, or is it Mefford?
Oh, I'm here.
Okay, now you cannot hear Spike, so we may have to translate. Hold on.
I cannot hear Spike, no.
Okay, he cannot hear you. He cannot hear you, Spike. So I may just hang it up. I'm going to hang up and call you on the other line. I'm going to hang up with him.
All right, careful.
All right. I'll let you go, Spike. Talk to you later.
All right, I'll be listening. Bye.
So Spike has left. We are calling the Charging Charlie. We have got it to happen.
All right, we're back.
We are back. We are back with live call in with Charging Charlie Mefford. Now, how long has Chargin been your nickname? That's what I would like to know.
Oh, man. About, 2015. So, yeah, about 7 years. 7-8 years.
7 years. So how long have you been racing?
Next year will be my 10th year in automobile.
And when you say automobile, do you mean karts? Did you do karts? What did you do? We need a background now. Everybody wants to know who you are. We got to give you some kind of respectful, term.
I say automobile is anything with wheels and a motor on it. I've been racing go-karts since I was 5 years old, still dipping, diving go-karts, moved up to a big car when I was 11, and then moved up to a full-blown UMP open-wheel modified at the end of 2018.
Okay. And so in that venture, what all tracks, areas have you been running in?
On go-kart or the modified?
Anything. Obviously, go-karts is a little, it's hard to know all those tracks. They're everywhere. I've
been as far north as Michigan in a go-kart, and has been as far south as Daytona in a go-kart.
So then go ahead.
I've won. I've won at Peevely. I've won in Missouri with a modified. Kentucky, of course. Tennessee. I mean, I can tell you racetracks. I can tell you I finished there.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to put your picture in here. Now we got a little picture of you in here. Hopefully, is that okay?
See here. This is your biggest problem with me. See that car right there? That's not the same car, right, Chaz?
It's the only car I could click from your Facebook. What do you want? Which car do you want? Is there a new car you got here? What? You're worried about marketing now. Which car do you want?
The car we had.
The black one?
The black one. That was hardly even our car. We bought that car for $4,500.
That's a very good deal.
And now you know why I was not so upset when I got out the car after I flipped it.
I understand you weren't upset.
Oh.
And I also understand that a lot of people found it very entertaining. And I also admitted that a part of me finds it very entertaining. But another part of me knows what people take shit as and gets me upset because I've been battling this image situation. And it's not necessarily an image of a accent or anything, but it's more so a projection of professionalism and badass drivers. I would hate for the projection of the dirt track racing and cars to be the reality, or for that to get any kind of legs. So I know the joking and the thing, it's fun, and I know that it's entertaining.
It's not a joke. This is not a joke. This is my life. This is exactly what I do. Every day of the week, I wake up thinking about racing, go to sleep thinking about racing, eat thinking about racing. I do everything thinking about racing. So this is not a joke. This is my lifestyle. And this was my pretty much only opportunity out of that weekend that I could have got my name put out there and let everybody know who I was. And I did exactly that.
Okay. Sorry, trying to get your car up there. I hear what you're saying. So you're saying at the end of the day, this is the correct one, right?
Yeah, that's what I reckon. That's a pretty good looking fella on the blowout.
Now, that's what they keep telling me. But do you at least get my point? I get your point. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to capitalize on your moment as much as you can. You're doing what you're trying to do to self-promote. I personally, have had the same issues. I've had very similar issues where my shit's been radical. My shit's been very close. My shit is considered very controversial, very outlandish, very raw. I get the cussing, I get the drinking sometimes. I don't really drink much anymore. But I've changed over the years just because of what I want people to think of me. Because I feel like sometimes if you joke too much, you get considered a joke. I hate that Tyler Carpenter gets labeled a dome racer, and he only gets attention for 1 week of the year. But there's a lot of reasons why that happens, but I worry sometimes that it's just because of that dome wrestling atmosphere that people enjoy. His character fits there, but it don't fit with the Jonathan Davenport style. You know, and people don't ignore it or take it seriously when he's at the World 100 or give him that attention. They don't see it lining up the same.
Well, you see, Tyler Carpenter has the same problem I do. He don't have the budget to go big time, super late model racing like I do. Me and my dad, we're the only two people that work on the race car. It's me and my dad. So if we had the budget, you best believe we'd hire a pit crew and we'd go run the Lucas Oil Series.
Right. And the only thing that's probably going to hold y'all back is the money.
Yeah. And this is what I'm saying. We're doing the best we can. Yeah, we could go and run, every modified race in this country right here. But our problem is we don't have the time and we do not have the money.
What about USMTS? What about USMTS?
USMTS?
Yes.
That's in the Midwest. That's in the Midwest. We don't have the time to travel out there.
True, you are in Kentucky. Is that a bad area just to be for racing? I was talking to a couple people. It depends, I guess.
It's getting really bad for modifieds. Modifieds are starting to really get hurt around here. So,
is it that because of the cost of them, though?
Tennessee, Missouri, and Illinois, that's our main areas, really, for modifieds. Tennessee is not UMP, but it still has a lot of modifieds down there. Like Kentucky, you go back 3 years ago, and 3 years ago, modifieds were the talk of the town. If modifieds were going to that racetrack, it was a special. Now you can't even get the 6, 7 modifieds to go to a racetrack. You can't get 4 or 5 modifieds weekly basis.
So
go ahead.
I
can't even go to a local racetrack that doesn't pay $400 a win.
What class?
I can only go to a local racetrack if it pays $1,000 or more to win. Which I was lucky enough, when they paid to, go down there and make money and win, because it's in my backyard and I'm good at those racetracks.
Were you at Bristol last year? The first year, did you go to either of the Bristol races?
I didn't. My stuff wasn't together. Like I said, just me and Dad. We don't have our stuff together, and I don't see the point in going to Bristol. I don't. I think the racetrack's just a one groove, and it's like just an experience to go to Bristol.
It's almost like the Dome.
See, the Dome.
It's almost.
The Dome is my dream race. The
Okay.
Dome is. I want to win the Dome. The Dome. I've been every year it's been held. The Dome is legit my dream race.
Now, did you get my point in what I was trying to say at all, though, or did you just think I was bitching at somebody because they had a moment?
This is what I see.
You can tell me what you think. I know where I was coming from. I got the documented evidence of why I feel the way I feel.
Where I think you're coming in from. I think you're coming in from a business standpoint. You're trying to get money into the sport. You're trying to get viewers into the sport. You're trying to make the sport
new people
reach around, become a big name for itself.
Okay.
Which you cannot change the sport for what it is. If you go up to a basketball team and say, you can't wear Nike shoes anymore, you can't cut you got to tuck in your jerseys, which they are. You can't wear headbands anymore. You can't post on social media. You can't go see fans. You can't, in interviews, you can't express what you thought about the game. That's what you're trying to do.
But no, because I stand by the Tyler Carpenter and the Kenny Wallace celebration and even the Hudson O'Neal issue, because I believe that's competitive-based emotions. It's winning, celebrating emotions. It's mad at somebody emotions. Well, because I think if somebody's taking the sport seriously, if they wreck their race car, they're upset about that. I think that is a natural emotion. I don't think that joking about destroying a race car is respectful or serious. That's just me. I mean, you could view it different. You could act how you want. I don't care, but that's how I feel about it, and I express my opinion on it. Because
you care enough to talk and have me on your mind to talk about it and make 3 videos. No.
I mean, I don't want to pull up the message that I received, but I didn't even know what the hell you did. And then some racer sent me. I was on the way there. I was trying to get there Friday, but I was busy working. I couldn't get there in time to go to the Dome. I got to the hotel. Somebody messaged me and said, "Can you believe this shit?" And I go, "What are you talking about?" He said, "This is embarrassing to the sport." Sent me the clip, saw it, because he sees where I come from. This is a longtime viewer of mine. And this is the type of thing that I don't think helps in that kind of moment. That's how I view it. I just don't think it helps. There's a lot of battles that this sport is going under. And I don't think that you shouldn't be able to express and all this stupid shit that you're saying. Not saying you're saying it to me. I can understand your perspective because of how I've come about this. No, I know. Okay. I'm saying that I'm not. You just said to me. You said you want me to that I want it to where you can't say what you say and you can't meet fans. No, I'm not. I'm talking about that's stupid. I think that's stupid to do that to somebody, to restrict them from saying what they think.
I can't meet fans, but you're saying, I'm embarrassing for the sport. I'm not what the sport needs. So
the situation. I mean, hopefully, like I was saying, I came into it like that. I came into this being pretty outspoken, being pretty way worse than my video for you. I mean, I've said way worse about people and the things that they did, and I would get a little more angry or a little more upset about it, and people would tell me, and I would get caught up in these dramas, and they would say I'm this or that, and then I kind of ignore most of the comments. But when it comes to somebody that I listen to, I may listen to what they have to say, and my stuff has changed over the years because I understand the responsibility. I think that your responsibility in that moment is because it is such a big, grand stage that you are representing the sport. Because people are paying attention to that race in that instance more than most any other race that's happening. That's why people want to go to the Dome. It's an exposure. It's an experience. It's a chance to make a name. And I feel like when you're in that Dome, you're in that arena, you're representing more than just yourself, in my opinion. And that's why I've had to change my shit from not being as extreme, because I know that sometimes when I got these big followers and people may be tuning in to watch dirt racing because it's a topic on YouTube, they never heard of it, that it's me first time they see it, that whatever I'm saying is coming at it from a serious perspective that ain't just illogical and mad and crazy or whatever, or this or that. I took what I said about your situation very seriously because I don't think it's just about you. Like I told you when you messaged me, it's a bigger issue.
I think the biggest issue here, and I'm coming from your angle, the biggest issue is that they're seeing a kid get out of the race car after tearing it up. I will say, the car is pretty tore up. We could get it fixed, especially after the sales we have with the T-shirts. I'm not going to expose that number, but
I don't want to know.
Do what?
I don't want to know. That's your own business.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to expose it. I'm not going to expose that number for anyone to hear, but I'm saying we don't have to worry about fixing the race car. And like I said, I have my primary car, my 2019 Elite, sitting out in the shop, getting ready to put a body on it, and hopefully can get to go to Volusia. Never raced Volusia, been there many years. Hopefully I get to go to Volusia. Hopefully, all these people can go down there and support me.
Okay. You said the bigger issue. I thought you were leading to something.
Yeah, the bigger issue, and this is it. There's people out here that don't have this opportunity. So they see me, and they're like, why is this kid out there, wrecks the race car, and gets that opportunity? And my reaction to that is, I am a kid from Kentucky that's been trying to make a name for myself for I don't know how long, been trying to post things on social media that'll get me a following. But I finally got that. When you're fishing and you get that tug on the line. And when I got that tug, I just set the hook and I fired that reaction off. And you don't understand the way I felt when the whole arena erupted. And that's when I knew I had it. And that's when myself really came out.
Okay. And the issue is, you say people are upset you had the opportunity to do that?
Well, yeah. People are upset I had the opportunity to go to the Dome in the first place because people think I'm not talented enough. Or
I never said that. You maybe someone else said that.
Listen, did you ever hear me say Chaz Thompson said that I do not deserve the talent?
No.
Or I do not deserve.
So you're telling me there's haters, or technically there's people hating you right now from that type of mindset of you. They're hating now. Even more?
There are already haters, but there's more fans and more people that actually understand the opportunity that I got and understand, because the only reason, I'm going to tell you the only reason I did this, the only reason I got out the car like that, because I've been a fan in those seats. Every year I've been to the Dome, I've been a fan in those seats. Last year I got the opportunity to go help Kyle Stephens, but I've been a fan in those seats, and I know exactly what the fans want, because I was that fan.
Okay. And so when you got out the car, you were like, all right, well, let's just say what if I was in the stands I'd want to hear.
Exactly, and you know what I did? That's exactly what I did. I didn't get out, and I didn't want to be like you wanted me to be. I didn't get out, and I didn't piss and pout. I was being myself, and if people don't like me being myself, I don't want them following me. I don't want them being, a Charlie Mefford fan.
Well, I don't. Okay, so Spike earlier was talking about ways of promotion and self-promotion, and let me just start by saying this. I feel like who you are is who I'm talking to right now. I feel this is you, right? I feel this is like you right now. You're just talking to me. You're on here. We're just talking. I feel like this is you right now. I feel like, though, sometimes that people get, I guess, in the promotional aspect, a Jake Paul syndrome, where they feel like they need to act out in some way to get some attention. And that, honestly, and I'm not blaming you on this, because I've been seeing this, and I said this to some people I was around, I've been seeing this type of, let's try to get a soundbite personality on mics lately that I've never really seen before, especially on the fender world. It's like they're always trying to find a way to slip a cuss word in or do this or do that, and you didn't cuss, not saying you did, but I'm just saying, that's why I say it's more than just you. I feel like there's a subculture happening that the way you get fame in the dirt racing world is when a mic's in your face, do something. And it doesn't matter what it looks like or what it is or what's it about. As long as I do something, then I can get some attention to help fund my race car, help all this stuff out, sell shirts, all that. It's more so about selling shirts than personal representation. I don't want you to be looked at as the catch me outside girl or something, just said whatever and no one wants to be a catchphrase. I don't think if you're actually are a good, talented race car driver, I don't want you to be the you can't park there kid. I don't want you to be known for a catchphrase at the Dome. I want you to be known for whooping some ass like a Tyler Erb or Tyler Carpenter. So I just think there's certain ways to make a name. What name do you want to make for yourself? These are stuff I've had to face this stuff too, because that's why I say I've readjusted what I've done just because of understanding that.
I made a name for myself right there, and then that's going to get me a following, and the following is going to see what I can actually do in a race car besides go upside down at the Dome, and then that's when it's really going to affect me.
So you're hoping that you were just hoping that this is kind of like a door opening moment that you can then get people to walk in because of this situation, and then no matter what you did to get them into the store, at least now you can sell them the food you're cooking.
Exactly. See,
Okay.
I had to get my name out there.
So
I had to get my name out there and promote myself.
So
let
it was
everybody know.
And then apparently you did a really good job announcing. I actually had one of the supporters or partners, I guess I could say. They were mentioning your broadcasting abilities and how you were very bright and smart.
I mean, I that's not my first time really broadcasting anything. I've broadcasted a lot. I've done, virtual shows on iRacing. I've done.
So wait, you iRace?
Yeah, I race a lot. Heck, I was iRacing, before this came up.
Oh, okay. So then you have been to Volusia, technically.
Yeah, well, listen, okay, I could say I've been to Bristol too then.
That's true. But they don't have dirtles in the game.
No.
They don't have dirtles.
I think iRacing tried to do it, but it kind of didn't work out,
So I'm guessing then we have to do some kind of grudge match between me and you on iRacing now for some money.
Okay. And see, and then you can post this, and see, you can get it out there, and we can actually get sponsor money off of this. So me and you don't have to spend any money. We can get sponsors, and whoever wins takes the money. And that's looking at a business standpoint.
That's a very quick, smart business plan that works out very well. You're extremely intelligent. Damn, I sold you short. You basically, here's what you did. I know what you did now. You did exactly what Trump did. You came out and told all of these dummies what they wanted to hear and took in all the votes.
I wouldn't call them dummies. They're my supporters. They're
well,
the
I mean,
that
Trump ain't going to say that. Sorry. Go ahead.
No. I finished. I just said I'm not going to call them dummies. These are the people. These are the people that support me. These are the people that I love.
Oh,
love all my fans.
I'm being extremely sarcastic in saying that, but
yeah. Well, I'm not going to put that on me.
Well, I'm just saying that's a politician's game. That's a controversy creates sales type of mentality, is to say whatever gets the attention. The squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Yeah, that's right.
So you're saying now you have it all planned out. This was premeditated. You're saying before you even got to the dome.
My goal for the dome. It's gonna sound stupid.
Okay.
I just wanted to walk out that tunnel for driver insurance. That is all. It's ever since I was a kid. In here, I'm gonna tell you this because I like the people to know because it's a funny story. Me and my buddies used to get on the video game Fortnite.
Oh boy!
And I used to build the dome on that game and build a walkout tunnel, and we would legit play songs through our phone speakers into our mics, so we could just act like we're walking out of the dome. We raced golf carts, acting like it was the dome. But now you can kind of feel how special this event means to me.
It definitely seems like it's gaining a Chili Bowl-esque following for the fendered world, and the crowd. You say you have been there as a fan. The crowd there Saturday night was probably the biggest I've ever seen it. Next year, I'd assume they'd have to open up the second level.
I don't understand why it's not open. I think Cody needs to open that second bowl unless it's a price deal, which that sell out seats, or maybe air deal because all the air rises and it's kind of be like a stuffing van. But like I said, I think it needs to be open. I think that's a money pit waiting to happen.
Well, I think that I know one thing that's expensive in these indoor events is for dirt racing is the cleanup. They have to pay an actual professional cleaning crew, from my understanding, to come in and clean the dust off of everything. And I think somebody told me it was around the $35,000 to $40,000 mark to clean up the dust. I believe, not 100% sure, but I would assume if you open up that second level that would go up at least $5,000.
Yeah, but see, I think they can make $10,000 off of those seats up there probably. I don't know. There's not that many seats, but I think they can most definitely make that $5,000 right there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's and that would be amazing. That would be awesome. I feel like the track needs some configuration changes. Me personally, I think. What is your opinion on the actual track? Because it is. A lot of people say it is what it is, but I have a feeling it could still be better than what it has been. Thursday was too slick. Friday, I mean, you only got so many laps on it, but it looked better. Saturday kind of looked like the worst track night of the week, which is unfortunate because that's the main night.
See, the dome has to be rough. There's no way about it. It can't be smooth as glass. The best race in there has came in the rough. But I understand, that's people's equipment that they're racing on and all that. But I think the show for the fans, the racetrack needs to be have a little bit of character to it. But I've been watching videos in the past, but the racetrack looks a whole lot just smaller. Like it's not as wide, and the straightaways don't seem as long. Right.
Yeah, and I think they skinnied it up to make it taller. That first year, I heard they were down on the concrete or something like that. So they probably had to make some changes. They probably took the dirt that they had for the width of the track and moved it. I'm only guessing, but I don't know. I just think that it could use some changes. I don't know why. It does always clot up. They always throw a chunk up off the ground, and entering one was horrible. But, I mean, I thought Friday was awesome. I thought Friday had a great racetrack. Go ahead.
I'll go ahead.
What are you going to do now? You're only focusing on Volusia? You're not running a micro at the Chili Bowl or a midget or anything like that?
I'm not a micro driver. I'm not a midget driver. I'd love to. I'd love to experience that. But, I'm not going to spend my money on just one race just to, not know what I'm doing. If somebody, would offer me, a deal, I'd offer in taking it. It's just I don't know what I'm doing in a micro. I don't know what I'm doing in a midget. But I'd love to experience that. Me and Dad was talking one year. It's like, we'd love to go out there and experience. I'd love to just go to Tulsa just to watch and just sit there one year and go to the Chili Bowl. I'm thinking about going to the Chili Bowl this year just because the atmosphere. I love the racing atmosphere. I love indoor season. Don't matter if it's go-karts, late models, midgets. Just the indoor atmosphere is like no other. And that's what really, that gets me going as a race fan. All race car drivers, they're not just race car drivers. They're race car fans. Race car, entrepreneurs. They're not just, Tom Berry, sitting in a car.
True.
They're race fans themselves. Like JD, he's a race fan.
Right.
He loves the racing. He don't love just driving race cars. He loves the sport.
Right. And that's the only way you could truly do it. That's interesting you say that. I know Spike knows guys. Obviously, he just said in the comments, Chaz, get him a ride. I did just transfer a local California guy over there running sprint cars. He was, I was over there for the Outlaws, drove out there myself, and he kind of jumped off the screen against the Outlaws to me a few phone calls later, and now he's got a full-time ride next year in Houston, relocating to the Midwest. I like finding talent and giving them opportunities. Unfortunately, I didn't get introduced to you on a winning note. I got introduced to you on a joking note, and I think that's where it hit my nerve. Because I've suffered personally through promoting this sport of people considering it a joke or a hobby, and that's a horrible, very damaging image for this sport, and I don't think that's the case. And just here by talking to you, I don't think that that's the case for you. But that's how I felt I was introduced to you as a race car driver.
Yeah, like I said, this is my life. This is all I've ever done. This is all I've ever wanted to do. I don't understand how people could take this as a joke. And
Me either.
I understand people. Oh, you're just going in circles, and I have to explain to them it's not just going in circles.
Right.
It's not. You got machines out there working. You got the right setup. You got drivers that are out there doing this for a living. I know my buddy of mine, Trev Jacoby. He quit working. He quit his job just to focus on racing, which he got a job again because this sport's too hard.
Right.
We
takes full time.
Spend all don't get paid.
Right.
That's one of the biggest problems in dirt racing, but we can't help that. We go to the places where there's money being paid, and then that's where we got to race. Right.
And then how can you worry about your respect and all this other shit when you're busy, trying to get the car ready for the next track? So that's you're right about that. You can't do this sport part-time. And that's what I've had to do for 4 years. It's been a full-time 365 deal for me, so I take it very seriously. We could work on Chili Bowl or Shootout. I don't know. How do you feel about micros? I personally believe the Shootout's harder to win than the Chili Bowl.
I'd love just to go up there and experience. Don't matter if I'm winged, non-winged, junior.
Okay,
I'd
this is a great question for a 16-year-old. Obviously you're in the fender world. What is sprint car racing? Like when I say micro and midget, it seems like you have no clue kind of the difference. You're just as oblivious as a regular person on the street.
See, I know a little bit. I know one has a wing, one don't. One, there's a little bit more motor. There's a lot, but I know the sprint car world is some of the most bad age drivers out there. You go and get in a car that fast, like you said, it looks like a dune buggy. And to go out there and going that fast around a quarter-mile racetrack, running side by side, and easily one mistake, and you could be sitting in the stands with everybody else. I think that's why, I'm halfway kind of nervous about, getting in a sprint car. I've had offers, but I'm like, I don't know if I can because it's just so wild.
Well, I hope. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just wild how the sprint car works. I was watching down in a Volusia. It was me, Brandon Shepard, and a Sean O'Neill, and we was watching the non-wing, and this dude came through, and he broke a drive shaft, and the sprint car drive shaft through in between their legs.
Yes.
And it broke both of his legs.
Yes.
But above that, somebody hopped his right rear because he broke and slowed down his pace. And he hopped the right rear and went straight to the fence, straight coming towards me. That was at Volusia, and congrats to the Volusia guys for making a safe racetrack and safe fence.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you what, something that's really funny. We always think that these sprint cars are super dangerous, and I would agree. And that's why I think they deserve respect. I think winged is a little more dangerous than non-wing. I know traditionally non-wing's a little more viewed as dangerous because you used to flip insanely in comparison to winged, but impacts is what hurts people now. And the sprint cars are going, with the wings on 30 to 40 mile an hour faster. But I don't know if this question is going to make me understand a connection or a disconnection, but do you know who Donnie Shoults is?
Funny story, I'll tell you about that Volusia incident. I was down there helping Donnie Shoults on his late model. Okay,
because there's a connection with Shepard.
Which Donnie, he knows me. I used to race with his niece's go-karts, Bakefield 2020 when he raced a go-kart. So, yeah, me and Donnie, we know each other. I know that Shoults family pretty well.
That's actually funny because when I told him, I was like, I texted him, I was like, I might not make it through tomorrow. He said, why? I said, I kind of, said what I thought on this whole Mefford deal and don't know if I'm going to make it out. And he said, good old Charging Charlie. So, yes, he does. Now that you say that, now that makes a lot more sense why he would say that. So,
yeah, Donnie, he's a good guy. We always call him the Dale Earnhardt of dirt. He's always strutting around in them Wrangler jeans and snakeskin boots.
It's very creepy. I did a really good video around him and David Gravel this last year at Cedar Lake, and it really, when I was filming him, I was like, if you was to take NASCAR in the 90s and place it right here, Donnie Shoults could be very relatable to a Dale Sr., and David Gravel could be relatable to a Jeff Gordon because he's very pretty boy, kind of more flamboyant lifestyle, kind of like a Jeff Gordon was. But that's a very interesting thing. But what I was going to lead up with was Donnie Shoults, when I did my talk show with him last week, he told me, I asked him what was his worst wreck in his racing career. And I was expecting him to say something here, something there. He told me that the worst hit, wreck, impact period in a race car was at Knoxville in the NASCAR trucks. That just blew my mind.
Yeah,
that blew my mind.
Yeah, I see that.
How
NASCAR is supposed to be biggest racing of all time, this and that, and especially how slow those trucks
right
are
at Knoxville. Like I told him, I said that's like a low risk for them. What do they feel when they hit the wall at Chicagoland?
Yeah, imagine the hits they take at Talladega.
I don't know why he said that, but we consider sprint cars the crazier one to get into. Like if you was offered a truck at Knoxville, you would be like, oh, that's safe. But if you're offered a sprint car at Knoxville, you may second guess it just because of that, in our mind, danger factor that comes along with the sprint car.
Yeah, I mean, you don't think about trucks going upside down and flipping over the fence at Knoxville.
No, well, he just he got spun around on the. He got spun. Go ahead.
You wouldn't really think twice about getting in a NASCAR truck at Knoxville.
No, and all he did when on the replay, I went and pulled it up to put it in the interview. He spun the truck around on the end of the front straightaway in a big pileup, and somebody hit him from the nose to nose. They hit him head on. It wasn't full speed really, but that was it. And he said that was the worst wreck he has ever been in his racing career. Out of the flipping in fires and getting burned, all this other stuff, he said that was the one that hurt him the most. Blew my mind, but it also made me think, how safe are sprint cars? He was trying to say that sitting upright, which is the biggest difference between open wheel and fendered is in the open wheel cars, you sit like you're on the toilet or something. You know, you don't sit like you're in a car. So we could probably get you in a micro. I know a lot of your followers, you know, said I'm a dumbass and I've never raced, but I have raced all of them, sprint cars, modifieds. I even raced big blocks up there for a little bit. But we could probably get you into the shootout for sure. That's easy. Chili Bowl is a little different.
Maybe exactly what it'd do.
Well, a micro is what we would be putting you in, and that is basically I don't know, you probably watch Haley Deegan a little bit.
Yeah, I know what a micro is. It's the step down from a midget.
It's the step down, but it's a it's a motorcycle motor, and you lay down in them, and the engine's off to your left. It's closer to a go-kart. That's what I got burned in one.
Yes. Now, yes.
But
yes. I know what you're talking about. Yes.
So and they got a wing and a non-wing, and it's apparently they're more expensive than they used to be. For the top ones, they're like $45, $50. Now, question. I'm assuming your primary car is $50,000, correct?
It's on up there, yeah. The way the economy's going, you know, they're getting more and more expensive every day.
Okay, so my assumption wasn't from an asshole perspective; it was from knowledge.
But like that's one thing that struck me off. That was a $4,500 race car, so it wasn't really. I was like, dang, he paid us $50,000. So
you're telling me that car race ready was $45,000?
No. It was a roller for $4,500.
Okay, and then the motor was, well, I guess at that point you can't really damage the motor. I mean, you could, but
yeah, that's the motor I run all 24/7. I mean, that's the only motor I got.
Okay.
And the funny thing is, heck, you know, you say I don't have a job, but heck, I'm fixing to start going to work for my motor builder himself.
Well, that's good. That's good. But you do understand you are very fortunate regardless of how you're in a race car at 16.
Oh, you don't understand. Like every time I you know, rip the quarter panel off of it or damage the nose, I walk up and hug Dad. I'm like, I apologize for tearing the race car up.
Well, you could understand how if I only met you from that clip, I could not guess that. You know what I mean by that, though? You know what I mean by that, though?
Yeah.
Just saying. In my defense, it sounds like you're a good guy. It sounds like all this stuff that I just don't know, you know. But in my defense, this is what I got. And this also, that one clip that I had to judge on, being a knowledgeable race fan, this is also a clip that people who have no idea about the sport is going to judge you as, too.
That's the main reason I wanted to get on here, just to set you straight so you know exactly what type of guy I am.
Okay. Well,
you can't say you haven't learned a lot about old Charging Charlie.
Oh, my God. You say it so cocky. Are you trying to be Jake Paul? Are you trying to be Tekashi? Are you trying to be the Tekashi 6ix9ine of racing?
I'm trying to make a joke. Trying to get a laugh out of you. Trying to make
it's not. I mean, I am joking. I'm laughing. You can't see my face. I mean, obviously. No,
I'm watching the stream. I just can't hear it. I'm looking at the chat.
Okay.
I see
okay. Okay, so question. You were already my friend on Facebook. What, have you seen any of my videos before, or was I just stupid? Why was I your friend on Facebook?
I have no idea. It's just Kyle Stephan. I know you I know you always used to talk about him, and Kyle, he's one of my close friends.
He's a good guy.
So I've always Kyle, he's a great guy. He's one of my biggest buzz, and he helps me a lot at the racetrack. He's one of the best guys in the pit. But yeah, I've always just seen you on social media way back in like 2018, 2019, back when I just started, you know, in big cars. I really, and I've always just followed your stuff, really.
Okay.
Here recently, I haven't been seeing none of it, so I really haven't been following.
Well, I mean, I joked and unfortunately had to learn about misogyny a little bit on Facebook. I joked with one of my friends and called him a slut, and Facebook deemed that as a deleting account offense in 2020, February of 2020, and 21, sorry. And they basically took my Facebook page with 20,000 followers away. So that's how that happened. That's why I'm on YouTube now.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the people we live with today. They just see. I wanted to make jokes, and I like. And in school, when I used to go to school, I'm fortunate enough to be homeschooled now, so I can further pursue my racing career. But I've always seen, people just. I always try to make people laugh, and that's all I try to do is just make people laugh, make people enjoy their day and enjoy the time they spend with me.
Right.
So I understand where you're coming from there. Trying to get a joke out of something.
Well, I know. I mean, that's how, like I said, I used to be the same way, and I was, calling somebody a joke or a joking name. And there is, sometimes people do take this racing thing too serious, and it does cause issues. But I think that internally, sometimes it gets taken too seriously, and externally, I think it gets taken not serious enough. And we got to figure out a way to make sure that people take it seriously. Like you say you combat the whole rednecks going in circles yourself all the time, and that's a big, big problem. People should be projecting you as what you just did as kind of like a number one draft pick or something for some national racing team, but they're not because of the setting, because of what it's viewed as. They're viewing you as a guy who's just, running a car in a circle. That's what socially we get viewed as. So, I mean, that's just a really big issue, I think. And maybe it can be attacked with jokes and then seriousness, like you said, it opens the door to get to people to hear what you got to say. I felt like sometimes I was doing that when me and Larson was going at it too much. I felt like I was, trashing him a little bit too much back in the day. And me and Caitlin, and him have talked about that since. And it is a part of our DNA in a way to get that attention to give our truth. So I guess in that aspects, that's pretty much what you did here with me. You got my attention, and now I get your truth.
Oh yeah. There's always two sides to every story. That's when I messaged you, I'm like, there's another side to this story that everybody's not seeing. I just want everybody to clarify.
Well,
I'm not some little sport. I'm not some little spoiled kid that just gets everything he wants and doesn't have to work for it. I'm out in the shop working for it. I don't have anybody up here just helping me. Do everything, wipe the car down, clean the car, or do the tires. Like I do the body myself. I do my tires. I try to maintenance it, since I'm just 16 and, hardly know what I'm doing. I normally have Dad out there with me, helping me most of the time with maintenance, I mean, I know exactly what to do with these cars. Like I got people that help me with setup, but I do everything setup-wise myself. I really ain't got much to help on, but, my buddy Justin Corsi with Dig City, he helps me out. He tells me what to do. He gets me going. But one of his big deals, he doesn't really hardly touch a thing on that race car. He makes me do all of it. And that's really helped me this past year. He with him doing that and me knowing what the car does, it really helped me.
Well, and in that aspect, you kind of, in a weird way, and this actually does make sense to me at least, you also fight the stereotype of if you're 16 in a modified, that your daddy just has it all figured out and you just get to live the rich life because that's what most 16-year-olds in race cars get to experience.
You don't understand. And you know what I tell them, Chaz? I go up there and I say, hey, I have daddy's money. I'm 16. Do you think I paid for this myself? No.
Well, and that's the deal, but there's different ways.
Yeah, I'm super thankful. I mean, my dad, we're lucky enough, to have the funds to race on the side, but still, I mean, don't think I just sit around the house all day and do nothing. I mean, I've been sick the past few days, and but I still sit around the house a few days a week and do schoolwork because I mean, I'm still a kid. I still got schoolwork to do. But every chance I really get, I try to go with my dad, and help him. My main primary sponsor, Mefford Construction, that's my dad's business. And a few weeks this year on his latest house, I've been up there and helping him just clean up and putting trusses on, this and that, and all the sponsors on my race car, they help. I'm very thankful for my sponsors. And, speaking of that deal that, the flip that happened, heck, it gained me sponsors.
Right. I would assume it did. I would assume it got you some. Twisted Tech, one of the primary sponsors for the Dome, heck, they sponsored me. Nice. What did they sponsor you for exactly?
They sponsored me because I was an outgoing kid.
No, I mean, I didn't know
teacher.
if you meant for next year, or if they just like helped with tow money,
they
or.
Next year. They sponsored me one of their scooters for next year.
Oh, okay. That's okay. That was the official scooter of the situation.
Yeah, all the you remember the iRacing stand down there in the pits?
Yes.
That was them, yeah.
I just always remembered the Burrow Maxes, because that's where those little electrical pit bikes basically were born, was the first year of the Dome.
Yeah, heck, I had one at one point. I had one of the first ones ever created. I really don't know what happened to them.
Well, I know a lot of them got stole. I know that was an issue around there. I heard that 30 people got their trucks and cars broken into at the Holiday Inn across the street from the Dome as well Saturday.
Yeah, we parked our truck. We was lucky enough not to get it anything happened to it where it was parked. But I mean, there's St. Louis. That's just downtown. I mean, you're gonna have that. I mean, heck, there was I don't know if I can say this, but there was unforeseen instances where people lost their life out the streets of St. Louis, right across from the Holiday Inn in the parking garage.
Really?
You didn't hear about that?
No, I did not hear about that.
2 kids my age got shot right there.
Really?
Yep.
Well, they say it's hard out here for a pimp, but in your case, I guess you made it.
Yeah. I stayed inside. I was doing all my pimping on the inside of the house.
Well, and also, so there was I didn't know it, but there's only one place open late night there. It's a sandwich shop. It's at the University of St. Louis. Me and another guy from the racing world went in there at like 2 a.m, and we definitely stuck out. It looked like every college chick and guy in there with suits and dresses on. They apparently said that, I don't know if you ever heard of UFC fighter Cowboy Cerrone, was actually in town for the race and went to PBR that night. So we did have a celebrity in person outside of, I guess, myself and Hot Carl.
Yeah.
I was just joking.
And then they had that bull rider that Turbo walked out with.
Oh, that's true.
I met him doing walkouts when I walked out with Drake Troutman. He's a good dude.
I'm surprised nobody had you walk out with them holding a you can't park that here sign. Why did that not happen? Was that discussed?
I had one person asked me to go out with him, and it was Dylan Sharp. He was just going to let me ride on his shoulders. I'm like, Drake, we got to do something big time, because I'm pretty good buddies with Drake now.
Okay. So it just didn't work out.
I was like, me and Drake, we texted each other that morning. I don't know how we got on the topic of driver intros. I think I asked him what he was doing for driver intros. He was like, I don't know, we need to do something together. And we brainstormed all the way up till like right before the late model feature. And he's like, dude, we're going to do a cardboard sign, and I'm just going to put, you can't park here. And then I'm going to say, and then he's going to say, I can park it. So it was a pretty cool deal.
Right. Of course, there's a lot of parks out there. The only park shirt that I remember vividly is the Brian Clausen Park It. So. Yeah,
which, everybody pretty much takes after that, parking it.
Yeah, it's considered as park it. Like, what did you mean by that? Did you mean, honestly, here's my opinion. When you randomly said it, I was like, is he talking about, like, people in the city saying you can't park on the side of the street in certain areas? What did you actually mean? Did you just mean...
Okay, so, do you see a racetrack as a parking zone?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You can't park here. It's like in the city streets. Is that pretty much what you were just...
I was saying, like, you just can't park on a racetrack. So, like, hey, you can't park there.
Okay. I didn't know if you had heard that phrase from several people or what.
I say that, like, just in my normal life. I just go, like, when I'm out in town, like, with somebody, like, somebody stopped on the side of the road or, somebody, like, got pulled over. I'm like, dude, you can't park there.
And have you heard numbers on that shirt selling? Because I'm assuming the Pit Lizard shirt was the only one that sold when all this happened. I know Matt over at Race Ranch is awesome. I've dealt with them. Matt has sponsored me at Race Ranch. So,
I hadn't heard the exact numbers, but I know Matt, he sent me a video on Snapchat today. Old Sheldon Creed, the Xfinity Series driver, ordered a shirt.
Well,
They're
Sheldon.
still ordering shirts. They're ordering shirts of mine from last year, the orange shirts.
Right. So what is your projection? Obviously, you know, I like to give guys like you some more credit than, say, a Sheldon Creed, for example, because Sheldon Creed had a bunch of financial assistance to get him to where he's at. My argument would be you're just as talented as any other 16-year-old that right now is running a ARCA car for $1.25 million a year. What do you feel about... Go ahead.
I was on a podcast earlier today about 6:30, and that's what I talked about. That I was like, it's crazy how there's so many young kids out here with talent that don't get the opportunity because they don't have the funding. There's kids out here that are out here winning races that nobody even knows.
Well, and that's why I think, you know, the respect for dirt racing has to go up, because it's honestly going to be the only place y'all are going to get a shot, you know. And even talented race car drivers that aren't lucky enough to have your dad have a construction business and be in a car at 16, dirt racing is still, as currently runs, the only place you could maybe go build your business, and then by 30 years old, if you have a construction or whatever, you could buy you a race car and actually go and perform. You know, because when we talk about $1.25 million to rent out a ARCA car for a year and $3.5 million to rent out a truck for Hocevar, that's what I was talking to him about. It's like, that's a very small percentage of people who's going to even get to attempt to do that. You know, that's not saying that they're the best of the best. That's saying they're the best of the very well off rich.
Yeah, it's the rich that like driving race cars. That's NASCAR.
Yes, it's rich people go-karts. So my response to that is, what do you think we have to do to get people to recognize what you're doing isn't a joke? What do you think we have to do to get the respect for that race car that you wrecked? I'm not trying to take a shot. I'm just saying, what do we do to get them to respect these race cars and the drivers behind them?
People got to understand that it's their only shot at fame and their only shot to get their name out there. So that's why you got to understand that that was my only shot the weekend. If I didn't say all that right there, when I ended up in the booth at Flow Racing, when everybody went and bought a T-shirt, no, I just walked back to my pit and loaded up and just had a normal weekend for after that. I would have went up and just watched. Nobody would have knew who I was.
Right. Well, that's more so talking about you, and that's why I did hint to it being a little not necessarily selfish, but you did what you had to do for yourself. I'm talking about the sport. What do we have to do to get people to respect that car and the drivers behind it? Because that's what you want to ultimately be.
You can't point them in the wrong direction. There are people out here. I'm not going to point fingers at what class, what tracks or nothing. There are people out here that are making a mockery of the sport. Like, people just not really caring, not really showing the passion that this sport needs.
Like me.
People out there that are... I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there's people out there that are just going out there to race just to say that they drive a race car.
Right. That's horrible. Yes.
That don't belong in a race car.
No.
That are just your average Tom, Billy Bob, just, hey, I got a race car, look at me. There's people out there that deserve the recognition. I know, like my buddy Cole Hilton. He's an up-and-coming racer himself. He's from North Carolina. He's one of my best friends right now. He has a lot of talent, but around here, nobody knows who he is because he's from North Carolina. Nobody was going to recognize him around here because he don't have that recognition. See, nobody knew who I was in St. Louis because I'm not really from St. Louis. Like, you can go to my local racetrack and everybody's going to know me. That's what people are. They're local heroes trying to make a name for themselves. That's what the big stage is.
Well, how do go ahead.
Jonathan Davenport, he was a local hero once. Jimmy Owens, local hero. Bobby Pierce, local hero. Tim McCready. Well, Tim McCready had backing from his dad, but he was a local hero at once.
Yeah, he had a last name.
But, I mean, all these people were local heroes at one point.
True. But I feel like local heroes have died off.
You got to have a break in the action to catapult yourself into the fame that gets you places.
Okay, and that's how you see it. How do we get how do we get people to respect local heroes outside of the sport, though? How do you introduce it to them? Do we bank on YouTube and Facebook? Because if we bank on streaming, I don't think we're going to get too much exposure.
You can straight up, go and talk to local business owners or just strictly business owners and go, hey man, there's this kid, he's good, he drives a race car, he would love, maybe to try to further his audience and further the sports audience. Maybe you could, sponsor or let him come out and, show him, let him talk to you, maybe bring his car out, like, and let him set up at your business, like Spike was saying earlier.
Right. Now, do you think that sim racing hurts racing?
I don't.
Now, it's an argument.
It's a really good argument. There's kids out here. And I can't even lie. I used to be one of those kids that used to just go out there and wreck people for fun. But there's people like, Majulis, Hauser. There's people out here that are actually doing this for, like, a living. They're out here running, money races. I mean, you got to look at William Byron. This is halfway the reason he's sitting in NASCAR right now. Because he got noticed L Jr. when he was racing on iRacing.
Well, Martin Truex Jr. did as
It
well.
all goes, and that all goes back to being noticed. Getting his name out there.
Okay. And you think that iRacing could do that for you or just anyone?
It could do it for anyone, really. If you got the right people surrounding you, like iRacing, it's kind of hard for them to do it themselves. But, like, you get in the lobby and you get somebody to notice you, like a Dale Jr. or somebody else, you're going to get noticed. And if you have talent on that game, you can kind of relate it back to real life. And he put him in a race car, and he went out there and did great, and now he's driving the 24 for Hendrick Motorsports.
Well, he did have financial support. You have to go to that level. But I do think
of course.
I think that no one should get their kid a race car or get a race car until they can run competitive, clean, consistent laps on iRacing. I think that would save them a lot of money either way.
What they did is what we did, we got a go-kart. And that's the best start out of anything, getting a go-kart and run laps and get consistent and get good. And, that builds hand-eye coordination. It builds, just hand-feet control.
Get you used to being leaned over on the right a little bit.
The go-kart thing got suspension. You ain't really leaned over, but it gets you that feeling of control.
And then I still say before you buy a real race car that you should be able to make competitive laps on iRacing. You
shouldn't buy a race car and go straight into a race. That shouldn't happen. You need to get in a race car and make practice laps. You can't just go and get straight in a race. What I did, I bought a race car. I went and made practice laps. At Paducah, at Windy Hollow, at Cedar Ridge. I made practice laps before I even got, in a real race.
Right. Well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if you can't make competitive laps on a sim racing game, you're not going to fare well in the real car. And I think to save your time before you do practice in real life, that you should be able to run that game consistently and fairly well before you even practice a real race car. That's what I think.
I've had people come to my house that are very good race car drivers, really good, really talented, and they can hardly make a lap on iRacing.
That's very true.
It's so different.
It is very true, but I think that is because the iRacing really only teaches you two things. It teaches you, in my opinion, it teaches you race etiquettes, and then it also teaches you throttle control. And outside of that, it really don't teach you much.
It keeps me kind of refreshed. That's like a workout for, up like sports people, like NFL stars and NBA stars. That's like, it's like my workout. It keeps me, hand-eye coordination updated and all that, and it keeps me sharp.
Well, and I also think that for someone new who's never been on a racetrack, really, you can't recreate it. When you get out on a racetrack, it don't look like going down the highway. It looks like nothing else. But at least on iRacing, you can learn racing lines, how to drift out to a wall, where you're supposed to actually be on the racetrack. That I think if you just get a race car, that you're going to have to learn all that with a real race car and something that you could damage or destroy. I just think that iRacing would knock all the learning techniques off as far as where to be on the racetrack. I think that's a big tool that it's underrated for.
Totally. I agree. I agree totally with that. That does make a good point.
I mean, I know Ricky Thornton and me and Kyle Larson and Chris Bell, we go back to R Factor days and Chase Briscoe and them, and I was really good, and I used to be 400 pounds back then. I lost my first 100 and got to get into a real race car, and everybody thought it was going to be a joke. And then I got out there in a modified first time on a half mile and was 0.2 faster than the track champion. And Ricky Thornton's in the comment section and all these guys saying, well, this is, of course, if you take a top sim racing performer and put him in a car, he's going to be a little bit better than someone just walking off the street. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, which I know a lot of sim racers that have gotten into real race cars. They used to do it with their Pro Series champion. They used to take Clint Boyer race, and they used to take them to Charlotte and let them turn laps in it.
The only thing that is extremely different, one I would say, is the vision is extremely restricted in a real race car. I mean, just clarity of view is shitty underneath all the tear-offs and the dust, and the shield can fog up. I mean, it gets pretty bad. And then also the one thing that is big and missing is the fear factor, and you can't replicate the fear factor. Of course, my fear factor moments were I never got scared in a modified or something, but I got it was when I went up to New York and raced the big block, and their damn cars, tracks are dusty as hell up there, and I'm going down the back straightaway in a dust cloud with the tear-offs, and I can't see the car in front of me, and we're wide open running 100. That's something you can't replicate in iRacing, where you can't see where you're going. I think fear factor does play a big difference between the high elites who may jump in a super late model the first time. That just like when I jumped in the sprint car, you feel something.
Oh yeah, and you don't get the same speed that you do. You don't get the same feel. You don't get the same G-force. You don't get the same, the breathtaking, the chills factor on a sim and in a race car. I've done both. I've done a lot of sim racing. I've done a lot of driving race cars. I've done a lot of go-karts, B modified, A modified. I've done a lot of sim racing with late models, sprint cars, and all that.
So, and now the only thing that's
real thing.
Right. And now the only thing that's left is the Chaz versus Charlie live on iRacing. I already got 3 sponsors in mind. We got a picture. We got to figure out how much it's going to. Could you imagine the betting lines?
I got PRI this weekend. So.
Oh my God, you got PRI. Well, yeah, I wouldn't do that this weekend either. I got somewhere to be as well, but could be some bets laid down.
I'm free through the week.
Oh my God. Well, something like that has to take time to be promoted correctly. Although we halfway already had done that.
Yeah, we've promoted it pretty good, I think.
I think so.
And now, I'm a promoter myself. I promote a lot of events on iRacing. I've done a few Gateway Dirt Nationals, a few leagues. I've done a lot of promoting myself on iRacing. But you have more background than I do, so I'm going to leave the promoting to you.
No, I mean, you could bring your crowd. I could bring mine. I know I could get the Gravels and the Shotzes of the world to tune in, the Larsons and the open wheel crowd. I definitely have a little decent reach over there. I mean, obviously your name's hot right now, so you got to reach as well. The only way I would have built this rivalry any better is if it was I guess if I would have slipped down to the pitting area and your dad would have knocked me out like I heard he wanted to, but outside of that, we did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and I think if we could get me in a micro ride, I think that would really break the internet.
That would be pretty good. I mean, I can pretty much get that to happen. I mean, that's not that hard to happen. The micro ride. That's not that hard. I mean,
like I said, I'm up for the challenge. I think I can take on driller season. I think I can, rumble some feathers in Tulsa.
Okay. I mean, we could make that happen. We could possibly make that happen. If we make it happen, is me and your dad still fighting? I mean, are we doing a pay-per-view for iRacing and like a Jake Paul boxing match too? I mean, what are we doing here?
I think after tonight, I think after this, you just need to see my side of the story. And I think our beef right here is squash. I think you understand my side, I understand your side.
Well, my side only comes from give a damn of the sport. And honestly, if anyone was going to hear my message, it would be 16-year-old drivers of the sport who need to recognize the responsibility that they have in the portraying of the image of this sport as well. Because y'all are going to get attention just because you're a younger driver. So whatever y'all do or say is what's going to be emulated as well. I halfway went to Tyler Carpenter because I halfway kind of worry, like Spike brought up about promotion, is like in today's society, like I was saying, it seems like a way to be promoted is to do hit pieces. That seems to be the case. I think we lost him there for a second. Hold on.
Lost you there. I have plenty of people calling my phone, just blowing my phone up. I tried to hit the FU button, but it didn't work.
You hit the FU button on me, apparently.
Yeah. Well, I guess I did in some way. Yeah, we're back.
They ain't calling because you're on the show, are you? Or are they just trying to call you to find if you have shirts left or something? Or
it's just my friends calling me.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, my serious message that I had, which I felt like I did it as serious as I could, would be what I would project to younger drivers just to know, there is a big image that you're portraying, and I know that this hit piece kind of marketing is useful. Like I said, I guess I kind of halfway did it with what I was doing as well, being very shocking and awing, but there is also consequences for that, for the sport, not necessarily yourself. So that's just what I would like people to know.
Oh, I understand. I understand where you're coming from on that deal, and I understand you don't want people to take this sport as being, embarrassing or just letting everything
Who gives a fuck? Fuck it.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. But like, what I'm doing is I'm just being myself, and I'm here, and I made it a little bit. I haven't made it fully, but I think I made a decent name for myself by what I've done. I'm not going to say it was the best way to make a name for myself, but it was the best way without it. I took advantage of what I had.
Right. Okay. I mean, I'm not necessarily against it now that I know who it is, but without knowing, hopefully people listen to this.
That's why private message you. I was like, let's sit down, let's talk, and we'll get to the bottom of it.
Well, I'm glad you didn't respond based on, like I said, I heard your dad and some people were looking for me, apparently, but.
Yeah, I'm not the kind that likes conflict. I'm the kind of guy that solves the issue and then I like getting along with everybody. I don't like, having problems with anybody. I like getting along.
What's up with the little Chaz comments? Or was that guy on Twitter talking shit?
About what?
He said something that you were on the flow and you was like, you don't want to say anything to hurt little Chaz's feelings.
That was Dean Hoffman.
Oh, that was Dean Hoffman? That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, well, the list goes...
Yeah, I was in the booth when that happened.
Oh, okay. Okay, so he was advising you to not hurt my feelings.
He was... who knows?
Who knows?
I didn't even realize what he said till, last night.
Oh, did you see the tweet, I guess?
No, I seen when he said it. Because I went back and watched the qualifiers last night because I just wanted to see how I did in the booth. I really haven't got to watch it, and I watched it, and he was like, yeah, I could say some things, but I don't want to hurt little Chaz's feelings. I was like, dang, he took a shot at Chaz. Yeah.
Well, it worked. My promotion tactics worked then, I guess, right? If I had promotional aspirations. Oh, no, it really did. It sucked to do that because I honestly felt like I was on a good streak. I haven't been pissing anyone off. I've been, just got off the Cody Sommer interview, the Donnie Schatz interview. They were pretty successful. And I knew once I was going to say something that it was going to be bad. I knew that I was ready to take the hit that if, say Suave came up when he was doing his walkarounds and saying, so I heard what you didn't like what Charging Charlie did. What was your opinion? And I would have said it right there, and I probably would have I wouldn't have been able to get out of the dome if a lot of people knew my opinion, if every person there knew it. But I just care about certain things about this sport that other people don't. I think that some people just look at it as a party. We were talking about that earlier. It can't just be a party, can't just be fun. It has to have an element of seriousness. But I do think the joking is right in a way. Just certain elements, I think it's not. But what did you think of the Tyler Erb situation?
I really think, what's funny? I wore my Tyler Erb shirt that day. I don't know why I decided to put it on, but I didn't even know it happened until like later that night when I got home and got into bed. Well, home away from home, as Sean O'Neill would say. But it really struck me because I sat there and I thought about my dad. I was like, I don't think I could race. I think I'd have to load up and just go home. Right. It would really hurt but he just kept quiet about it, and that's the thing, nobody knew. And like Spike was saying, if more people knew, it'd have been a bigger deal. Right.
Well, and I also think he didn't tell anybody because he didn't want 60,000 people lining up to say sorry about your loss.
Yeah, he wanted to keep it private until everything was calmed down.
I mean, if he was committed to racing, how would you be able to race if everyone is reminding you of your dad being dead every 5 minutes, or 50 seconds? That would have happened. That would have just happened if it was news. And that probably would have been way worse than keeping it in, I think, if he would have let people know.
I understand that, which it really did strike me because nobody knew. I was happy he won because I'm a Turbo fan at heart. I've been a Turbo fan for a while. Right. And after that, and it struck me. I was like, there's people out here, and it really made me think. There's people out here in this world. You don't know what they're doing. You don't know what's going on, but they're out here. They're still racing, and they're still having a good time.
Yeah, and I've been somewhat critical of Turbo in the past a little bit. Some of his, not necessarily racing moves, but just kind of public, actions. I haven't necessarily been on board with all of them. But he's probably the closest thing to a, outspoken, wild type of character in the national scene. I mean, outside of him, maybe Bobby Pierce, but Bobby Pierce, I mean, he just kind of talks a little cocky and wrecks a car every now and then, Tyler Erb's probably the most vocal national racer there is right now.
Yeah, I think that's why he has such a backing because he speaks his mind and he don't care what people say. He has a rod, and Randall supports his decisions.
Now, I did ask this earlier. Do you think racers could handle fame? Like, could you potentially handle real fame? Now, when I was saying it earlier, I don't know if you was listening. I was trying to say, like, look, even say you like Trump, there's 50,000 or 50 million or 50% of the population that hates the guy, would like him to die. Like, he hears bad things all the time. Obviously, with this situation with you, I was one guy out of it seemed like everyone who was just critical of the situation in the way I had a critical. I didn't feel like I was extremely mean. I felt like I was extremely serious about a topic of a situation. But I wasn't incredibly mean. If you got real fame, I mean, there's people out here. If the racing world got real fame, there's people out here that would really be mean You know, look how mean they are to Trump, or mean to any guy you out there who thinks is a good guy. If they got real fame, there's half the percentage of people in the world that is dogging them daily. You know, that's something that comes with fame. Could you handle that real kind of fame where you don't ever get away from someone being critical of everything you do?
I think I could, just because I don't let really stuff people say get to me. Because when I lay down at night, I know what type of person I am, and I know the type of person I was that day.
Right.
I was being myself, and if people don't like myself, that's their problem.
Well, and I was making the comparison. I was like, Spike, if we took this shirt to a college campus, this Pit Lizard Pimpin' deal, that's some... I don't think it's offensive. I think it's a joke, but there's people out there who would literally flip their fucking shit at that. They would want you to burn at the stake. Just because they see it, they're crazy. They see it as misogyny. They see it as you know the whole stick. You know, I mean that's what the society views stuff like that as. That's the truth.
And that dope Pit Lizard Pimpin' shirt, that was another deal trying to get my name out there. You know, Race Ranch. That's one of the biggest clothing branding.
Oh, I know.
Now.
They do great stuff.
And I'm just a little part of it.
But you know what I'm saying. Like that, if you got real fame.
Everybody knows what the Pit Lizard is. That race is, everybody knows what one is.
Right.
And nobody really, says Pit Lizard Chip. I'm like, let's do this. And try to get a little exposure out of it.
Right. Well, I think it's funny, but there's a reason comedians are dying, is because their jokes that are in the same type of context are being, they're being crucified for these types of jokes. Socially.
Exactly.
They're getting kicked out of business because of jokes in a similar fashion. They're getting shut down. They're losing their careers because of similar type jokes.
Heck, my family, they didn't like it. Half of my family, they was upset that I made those shirts. I'm like, and they don't understand, where I'm coming from. They don't understand, I'm trying to make a business. I'm trying to make a business and a name for myself.
Why does Spike Fast Racing want to ask Charlie how many pit lizards has he had? See, this is disgusting. This is where the objective is like, oh my God, he's 16 with pit lizard on his shirt. They would have a field day with that. That's what I'm worried about. If this sport got real fame, how many people would be unfairly judged? First of all, because it's already unfairly judged. And then how many people would get exposed in that unfair judgment and crucified publicly over the unfair judgment?
You also back. There's another clothing brand, the Big Johnson shirts. Look how big it is.
True. But it's branded on being a joke.
They made it. They're big corporate spots. They're big corporate names.
This is true, but I mean, look at Kanye and Adidas. I mean, I'm just saying. Depends on what brand or what genre or what group you may offend. That's just what it is nowadays.
Which, I done made the shirts. I really can't go back and change it, but that happened. The shirts were made. Everybody bought them.
What's your political opinions? You're almost old enough to vote. Will you be able to vote by the next election?
No, I won't.
Oh,
Maybe.
Man. Oh, you're out there trying to save yourself. You're out there.
I think I will.
Are you going to the military? Is that what you're saying?
No, because I'm 16 now. At the end of 2023, November 2023, I'll be 17. And at the November 2024, I will be 18. So I think I will be able to vote.
No, it's the first week in November, though.
Yeah, and I'll be 18.
My
birthday's in August.
Your birthday's in August?
Yes.
Okay, so you will be voting the next go round.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously I feel like we're in a pretty politicized industry. I haven't seen really any other sporting industry align with a political figure as much as I've seen the dirt racing world affiliate with Donald Trump. Don't know why. I mean, obviously there's reasons why. but it is a very Trump-fueled environment. Would you agree? I mean, would you agree?
There is a lot of Trump supporters in racing in general. Yes, I really do think that, yeah.
So do you get a taste of what any other ideological thoughts are when it comes to political spectrums, or do you only get to see the Trump side of stuff? Do you do any research on this craziness, or you just try to worry about your racing and the hell with it all?
Yeah, I'm 16. I race. If I was 18, I'd probably be looking a little bit into it a little bit more. But I really don't care about all the political stuff right now. Like I said, I'm a race car driver. I drive race cars. I'm not a politician. I'm not a voter yet. So I focus on race cars.
Tulsi Gabbard, I would look into it. What do you think about us going to all electric society, though? You're obviously 16. They're wanting to take motorized vehicles out by 2030, 35 for sure. So you're going to live in a world where apparently they're trying to take motorized vehicles away. What is your thoughts on that, being a 16-year-old going into the future of motorsports?
Well, everybody thought automobiles were bad. We had horses and buggies.
Yes, that's true. I was going to make this point. Yep.
Everybody thinks that electric vehicles are going to be bad. It might help.
It might. You're right. I mean, I was going to make this joke to Donnie, who's against it. I was like, you almost sound like the guys on horse and buggy talking shit about trains and coal, or the people in trains and coal talking shit about automobiles. Or the people, carving on stone, mad about books. It's what happens. It evolves. That's what happens. I mean, everybody's like, oh, you can't do that. Well, imagine what they were saying when everybody's riding horse and buggy and they're building train tracks across the country. You can't.
Which I'm here, so I'm not deciding when we go to electric. I don't have a say in it, so I really can't be mad or happy that it's going. It's the world. We live in it. We can't change it.
Right. That's true. That's true.
We can change it, but it's too far gone at this point.
Well, in a way, it's too far gone. Personal choice is definitely being taken off the table, I feel like. That seems to be the goal, is to take off individual choice of life. At the same time, I made the point to Donnie Shoults that fuel is the concern and carbon emissions and stuff like that, whereas in the sprint car world, they run on methanol. Methanol produces zero carbon emissions. I literally had to prove it on our talk show because he thought I was full of shit. Methanol is a wood alcohol. It produces zero carbon emissions, has no oil. Unlike where gas does have oil involved. It's an oil mixture with alcohol and combustibles. So technically, sprint car racing should be safe, but modifieds and produce the carbon emissions. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Regardless, obviously you have no opinion on that. What is something I guess you want to say before you get out of here? It is getting pretty late. I'm assuming you're on East time, so it's 12:30 there, correct?
Nah, I'm Central.
Oh, you're still Central. Okay. Are you near Lawrenceburg at all? Are you up in that area, like the Ohio area? What area of Kentucky are you actually in?
I'm in Western Kentucky. I'm about 2 hours from Paducah.
Oh, okay. So you're closer to the Indiana side.
Yeah. Indiana's like an hour and 30 minutes.
So then you weren't very far from the Dome. What, 3 or 4? Hello?
Oh, 4. Hello?
There you go. You're back. Said 4?
Yeah, I'm about 4 hours from the Dome.
So what would your weekly tracks be?
Clarksville, Cedar Ridge Speedway, Windy Hollow, Paducah, really.
And is there any chance to go USMTS? I still feel like you could do that.
I really haven't put no thought into it. I know Krupp did for a little bit, but all it really is it ain't really nothing, really, is it?
Well, I mean, it's paying very well. I think it's a $10,000 minimum pay for their weekend races. I know McKinney's went over and done it.
I got to really change spoiler.
Well, you got to change a few things. I know they've done a lot of rule changes over the last couple of years that has kind of let them get closer to competing against one another. They had a challenge race, I believe, at 34 or one of those tracks over there near the border of Iowa and Illinois. They had a challenge race. But USMTS is technically considered, like me and Kenny Wallace when we was talking about it, it's like the NASCAR modifieds. And modified racing is very weird. When you try to class it up across the country to figure out who's the best modified driver, you got this issue with UMP and IMCA and USRA. USMTS is the big touring series. It seems like UMP's kind of the smaller pond of the three, because IMCA is so big. Obviously, it goes everywhere. And then USMTS is the one that gets paid the most. And then Dirt Car, UMP, seems to be kind of this Iowa or Illinois, Indiana, Ohio Valley, there into Tennessee a little bit, North Carolina, and then they don't even really run UMP much until you get down to Florida after that. But it just seems like modifieds in general, it's hard to separate who's the best. And then you have the two traditional IMCA guys like Grabowski and Ricky Thornton Jr. run 1-2. What's your opinion on the modified scene of the Americas?
I think it's funny because me and Hawk Carl was talking about that. We was down there doing driver introductions. I was like, I don't know. It was me, Kenny Wallace, and Hawk Carl. I don't really know what the conversation was, but I think I was messing with him. I was like, yeah, that's why UMP has the best modified drivers in the nation.
Well, I would, me personally, I would say that they are third, personally, overall. I think you can't get better than USMTS. Dugan just put in the comment sections, USMTS, you're going to need some motor. That's not technically true. UMP, technically, if you go by the rules and you build it all the way, they have the biggest motor out there as far as you could put money in. USMTS, you could run a spec and do very well. Of course, they got the open motors that are very expensive, but USMTS, they pay the most. For an example, at Deer Creek this year, I went to the late model race. They ran, Mississippi Thunder, same area up here, Wisconsin area, and it was USMTS and World of Outlaw late models for the weekend. And Cade Dillard, who's a modified driver, ran both, and he and I believe Ricky Thornton Jr. couldn't make it out of the B main. I mean, it was that competitive. To me, USMTS, if you're going to go anywhere in modified racing, you have to find a way to get to it. Because I believe, like I said, it's a $10,000 to win minimum per weekend. And then it is also, I believe, a $75,000 championship. So not only do they, have really good racers, but they also pay the racers the most. And even I was talking to Ryan Gustin. I'm sure he wouldn't say this publicly, but Ryan Gustin, he's second year in to the World of Outlaw late models, and he was joking on how he wishes he would have knew that they were going to go to 10,000 to win because he would have never went late model racing. It's just, to me, UMP is top of the line. I give second to IMCA just because of the vast amount of racing there is from coast to coast in that class. They have the quantity for sure. Quality you could maybe guess, but they got the quantity. I just think UMP is just too small of an area. I mean, Wissota and UMP are comparable, kind of, couple states, territory. But that's how I would see it. I would go USMTS, IMCA, and then probably UMP, then Wissota, which I guess you got to consider Wissota. They're a pretty big modified area.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like tomato. It's modified, but it's not the same modified. UMP is their own type of modified. Wissota is their own type of modified. IMCA is their own type of modified. USMTS is their own
and
type
that's
of
the
modified.
problem. I think that's why when Grabowski came out with the IMCA signal or sign, I clapped because I thought it was funny because he's like, I'm IMCA coming to kick your UMP asses. I think we could have a good rivalry like that. If there was a rivalry series, that would be extremely entertaining. If you could take the best modified guys from each sanction and race them, that would be very entertaining.
Yeah, I agree. Then I wish they could, have a kind of like a series. Go to like a Fairbury, a Boone, and like a Wissota USMTS track, and like the best tracks for that sanction, and I have top 10 drivers from each point and send them there.
Right. All right. I feel like IMCA don't get much credit because they're considered, and even by me, I would say, those are crate modifieds. You know, I mean, Dank down here just said he's on the West Coast. He don't know one driver out there, one modified driver out there, or series out there. When Cody Laney, the IMCA Super Nationals champion last year, is from California. I mean, he's won their biggest race, but you got fans out there who don't even know they exist. You know, that's how.
Same with,
Go ahead.
Same with Ethan Dawson in the UMP deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't even know who he was. And then he started driving the Longhorn house car, and he started kicking tail.
Yeah, and I believe he's a California guy, isn't he? Or Oregon?
He's California. I think he's like Fresno.
Something like that. Yeah, West Coast guys. What about you? Have you got any West Coast opportunities? Anybody try to get you to go out there for Las Vegas or anything?
No, sir. No.
Why is it McKinney that gets all the chances? Is it because he's pretty?
Because he's a race car driver. He's a good race car driver. He has lots of opportunities.
Mike McKinney is a slump. I mean, you could get in his car and win every race.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, McKinney, he has a lot of experience. I've watched McKinney race a lot. I've watched, a lot of his in cars from Fairbairn. He's just good race car driver. He's up on the wheel and he knows exactly what to do.
Who is the best modified racer in UMP?
Nick Hoffman.
Oh man, how you gonna say that? No respect for Harrison. What about Mike Harrison?
Harrison, he's good. But he just doesn't have the stuff Hoffman has.
Why does
Harrison? He's good to an extent. If it does not have a cushion and it's super slicked off, Harrison, he's going to run good. It's just he's not going to run as good as Hoffman would.
Why is it that and this has been the knock on Hoffman in the modified community? I'm up here around the USMTS areas too. The one knock on Nick Hoffman is if he's so damn good, why won't he come to a MTS race? And I've heard several reasons.
Answer that.
Well, he did go late model racing. I do feel like modifieds are Xfinity, even on a USMTS level, if there's a late model to race. Does that make sense?
The thing. Modifieds are so much harder to drive than late models.
I mean, yes. But then you see the modified guys get a chance in late models and not always really shine. I mean, Kyle Strickler was dominant in UMP modifieds. And, yeah, he's okay in a late model, but he ain't doing nothing super special. He's a top 10 guy, but that ain't nothing special. And I agree, it sounds like 8 inches on that much power would produce a better or a harder vehicle to drive, but then you should be able to get into a late model and outperform late model drivers if it's so much harder.
I've always thought about that. I really don't know why.
I mean, Hoffman did okay. He didn't do nothing special, though. Just did okay. So I don't know. I do think, though, that even in the fendered world, that modifieds are viewed as a class below late models, no matter what.
100%, yeah.
So I mean, I don't know what to do to fix that, because you look at some of the top performing modified rides, and they're going to be just as expensive as a late model if you want to be up front.
There's not enough attention. There's not enough area for a modified real perform. There's not a World of Outlaws series for a modified. There's not a Lucas Oil series for a modified.
But
it's just.
I was just gonna say, the other thing that there isn't for a modified is a class. Like late models, if you go like the term super late models, you could go watch super late models almost everywhere. But modifieds, it's like we just got through talking about. It's IMCA, UMP, there isn't a class for the top level of modified racing to even unify a fan base or the drivers.
Which, I mean, there's A mods, B mods, and stuff like that. Which B mods are just underpowered modified.
But then an A mod is IMCA modified is considered an A mod, but it's in a crate car. It's IMCA modified racing is crate racing. So, You know, in late model world, if you're in a crate motor, you're in a 604. You know, you're not running. It's not a super. So I think it's because the modifieds haven't unified a class, and since they haven't unified a class, they can't unify the fan bases or the drivers, and it's just overall killing it.
I agree with you.
And you are gonna shift, I hear now, and you're gonna run sprint cars. You're switching out of the late models, correct?
No.
We could maybe get you in a sprint car. We could get you in sprint cars. I mean, we're close to...
My dream still is a World of Outlaws or Lucas Oil's super late model ride, a full ride.
I mean, but there ain't no opportunity over there for y'all. Well, I'm just kidding, but I'm just trying to sell this. We could get you in some sprint car stuff.
I'm not real interested in sprint car. I mean, I'm interested in, the micros and midgets, but just the sprint car stuff, I just don't think it's for me.
Why? Is it too fast?
It's just not my, caliber.
Is it the danger? It looks fun.
It's never really struck my eye as something I really wanted to do.
Have you done it on the iRacing?
I've done it a lot on iRacing. It's like you look at a plumber and it's like, I can get you a job with a plumber. You can be a plumber. Do you want to be a plumber? No, not really.
But it's the same thing. It's dirt in a circle.
Yeah.
Why do you think that split is there so much? I say it all the time. If we could unify the fendered crowd and the open wheel crowd, we'd have the biggest fan base in the world. Why is it even there? It's the same thing.
It's wild that it's the same thing, but it's a different concept.
Is it? What's the different concept? I mean, you could beat banging a sprint car, kinda, a little bit. Not a lot, but... I get it. It is the racing style is NASCAR to Indy cars. It's very similar in those two comparisons. I mean, one's a little bit more in a pack and side by side like NASCAR, and then sprint cars are like Indy cars. It's more so about getting runs and making, quick kind of maneuvers and passes, and it's not necessarily all bunched up together. So I get it, but it's still on a dirt oval, and we're still turning right to go left. I mean, everybody's in the chat right now battling late models versus sprint cars. Why can't we be like the NHRA where you have top fuel and funny car?
I mean, I don't understand why they had to battle at all. Sprint cars and late models are still two great positions in this sport.
But there's always been a traditional battle between the two. Fan bases, drivers, they're always talking shit.
Yeah, but it's just one of those deals. Sprint cars are, they're their own creature, and late models are, just their own deal.
So you would reject a test in a 410 wing sprint car?
I don't think I'd reject a test. I'd like to, start off in something smaller, like a 305, and work my way up. But I don't know. Just for the equipment sake, the 305 would start me off like I started in a crate car.
Well,
get me out,
but the sprint cars. I think you would learn bad habits in a 305, though. That's why they tell people not to run 305s.
It just give me a familiar experience in a sprint car because I just don't run sprint cars.
Well, and they're very touchy on the wheel, So
yeah,
and they look very dangerous. They look dangerous, although apparently not more dangerous than a truck at Knoxville. That blows my mind. Still blows my mind.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess we can let you go. It's probably past your bedtime.
Bedtime. Heck, I'm homeschooled, but yeah. It's getting pretty late, but yeah. I mean, I appreciate you letting me come on and sell my side of the story to you, and kind of get a little bit further into this deal that we've been battling about the past few days on social media.
Well, I mean, I definitely think that, I kind of halfway wanted this to be able to happen just also for, like I said, I know the sport. I didn't know you. All I got to know about you was that example, so to be able to.
That's why I got on here, so you can figure out the real person that I am.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, I hope in the same aspect that, anybody who has been introduced to you in the same way, because I'm assuming you're making it sound like a lot of people were introduced to you in the same way. And this is how they got to learn your name or hear your name. And that's how they got to hear about you. And maybe they had similar notions. So at least now, those questions can be answered as well. Not just for me, but for your image in the sport. You know, that's a big deal. I mean, like I said, you could be catch me outside, girl. I don't think that's good. You know, she's very famous, but I wouldn't want to be her. You know, I mean, I'm just saying. I don't think you want to be either. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be the You Can't Park There kid my whole life. I want to be Charlie Mefford, and I mean, I think that's just a start to Charlie Mefford. Okay,
well, the door's open. I guess the door on this one is closed. Any sponsors you want to give a shout out to? Any people you know watching?
I don't really know anybody watching, but yeah, I like to give out a shout out. You know, of course, my mom and dad. You know, they do a lot for me. Oakley, you know, builds my motors. Nick, you know, builds some of the best race cars I ever drove. Scotty Owens with Owens Construction, Quality Towing, J&J Pumping, Turner Services, Race Ranch, Windy Hollow, Western Kentucky Speedway, Cedar Ridge Speedway, Dig City, Owensboro Health. And, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, a few of my new sponsors, Joseph Thomas Racing. Let me think. The scooter brand from the Dome. I really can't think of their name.
Bromax, wrong one.
Yeah, wrong one. It's on the
guys who sold the damn scooters that helped me get my car off the track.
Yeah. Those guys. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, just people that really reached out to me and bought a shirt and came up and just really took pictures with me. I mean, they're the reason I really like this sport and reason why I want to keep going. And it really means the world to me. You know, anybody that comes up and takes a picture, I'm never going to back anybody down. I might not have time, but I will say come back later. I really appreciate everybody that, comes up and all these people that, put their time and effort in on me.
Yeah, definitely. I feel the same way sometimes. It's I was a person that came into some fame as well, and it when you come from kind of nothing, which it sounds like what you're saying, and then you were trying to make your splash here, when you make that come from nothing and people all of a sudden want to see you and say hi, it means a lot. You don't want to lose your roots on that. So it's good to know that you haven't lost the roots in appreciating the regular folk from liking you. That's a big deal as well. So I think some people, I even heard one sponsor making comments on a bigger driver on how he got too big for him. He used to be like that, where he would appreciate people and talk to you, but now he's got big, he's got used to that, so now he doesn't appreciate it as much, And I think that's a hard aspect that some drivers get into, and they slowly forget to really appreciate people who like them, no matter how much of the like you get. So that's good to know.
I'm never going to forget the people that got me here. Like, all my friends are always, they've been texting me the past few days. Don't forget me, since you're famous and everything. I'm like, you was part of the journey. Heck, you're just as famous as I am.
Right. Yeah, I'll tell you something that was very funny. I believe in God or a God or a universe or something extremely. I believe in listening to signs and things that are very interesting. And my girlfriend will testify to this. So, where I'm at, I had raked all the leaves and placed them in one spot outside in the front yard. This was a couple weeks ago, waiting for the people to come and remove the leaves, okay? So I parked my car right there in front of the leaves. I'm waiting for somebody to say move it, or if I'm gone while they pick it up, whatever. And all of a sudden, the day before I'm supposed to leave to the Dome, there is a police order sign that says no parking, temporary police order, stuck right next to my car in front of the leaves. Now, I didn't know at the time, like, I can't park there. What's going on? And I went, I'm telling you, this was last Thursday, bro.
Can't park there.
I was literally, I went to the girl. I was like, I don't know what this sign, I was telling her, I don't know, because I take signs very literal. I was like, I don't know what this sign means, bro, but it's saying I can't park here. I don't know if I was supposed to move or what. I took it very spiritually. And then, exactly, 24 hours later, after this whole situation went down about me not being able to park there, this motherfucking shit happens with this punk-ass kid junking a car making fun of it. I can't believe it. But anyways, yes, that was the sign. You can't park there. I got that last Thursday. Last Thursday, right here.
Come on, Chaz. Give me a 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1. You can't park there.
There it is.
I can't scream it. I can't scream. You can't park there. I can't do it.
Yeah, at least you said it.
But the God said it to me last Thursday, and then you came to reality. So that's what happens. Manifestations.
Yeah, there it is. You got the you can't park there out of the way.
Oh my God, you can't park there. I can't wait to see your iRacing ride for this one-on-one match that we're gonna broadcast live.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to have one of my buddies make me a rap.
Oh yeah,
But give it to me. I need to figure out when this is.
We got to do something. I think that could be good. We could promote a pretty big race. I could get David Gravel in there, get a couple people in there that race, get some names in there. We got a pretty big race. Tim Sims is a big supporter of mine. I don't know if you know who that is, but
No.
he does a lot of the simulators. I don't know if you've seen all the simulators lined up at Chili Bowl with all the half-cut sprint car chassis. That's his.
Oh, was he at the Dome?
Yes, he was at the Dome. Yes.
Yep. I've seen him.
That's Tim Sims, and I have a pretty good affiliation with him, so we could make a pretty big iRacing event out of this. We really could.
Hey, what are we gonna run? Sprint cars, late models?
We could do an international race of champions and do one track in each class and do a points deal all in one night. Or
We can do that, yeah.
4 days. The fastest 4 days in simu sports or something.
The fastest 4 days.
There you go. One night in a modified, one night in a wing sprint car, one night in a late model, and one night in a street stock.
Oh, street stock. That's my stuff right there. I like it.
I don't know. I think I could whoop your ass in the street stock. I think you're underestimating me.
Easy.
You're underestimating me. You really are.
I am. I like them street cars.
Chase Briscoe called me the Steve Kinzer of online racing at one point.
But that was our factor. This is our racing.
I hate to admit this, but I am a founding member of iRacing.
Why do you hate to admit it?
Because it sounds horrible. Founding member. The fucking thing came out in 2008. Although I don't race it a lot. That's my problem. I'm good, but I just don't stick to it.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Is it going to be open setup, fixed setup?
I think fixed is the only way to do it, to find out who the best driver is.
No, we got to have open setup. I got to support my sponsors.
Fixed is the only way.
I support my sponsors.
Your sponsors can kiss your ass. They can't park there.
They're going to park there. We're going to park it in Victory Lane.
This is the you can't park there invitational fixed so that the drivers can shine.
Oh, drivers?
Yes.
Who?
We're going to get some names. I'm sure we could get Chris Ferguson in on this. I'm sure we could get a bunch of names in on this.
I'll get Fergie.
We'll get Ferguson. I'll get Shots to fire his shit up. We'll get some names in there. We'll make this the biggest damn iRace there is.
Yeah, it's going to be good. See, the worst part about it, my internet's not that great. My computer's not that great, so I'll get in there and I'll just lag.
Well, maybe me and you may have to be announcers. I don't know. But,
yeah, there it is. Yeah. And then we can do like a one-on-one deal.
We can argue the entire time.
Yeah, the fastest 4 days in iRacing history.
Right. When you get too carried away in the broadcast booth, I could be like, calm down. You already got your fame. Calm down.
Yeah.
Yep.
This could be a good deal.
It really could.
It could be a good deal.
Somebody said fixed setups hold you back. No, they don't. No.
Yes, they do. They do hold you back.
They hold back the people who need a setup to be fast.
I can be fast either way. I just think, setup, show off the crew chief and the guy.
The crew chief and the guy. Oh, my God. Trent Ivey said it best. iRacing's 100% setup. Real racing is 20% equipment, 80% setup. So
Exactly. So, I mean, if iRacing's 100% setup, let's use it.
Oh, my God. For an advantage.
There,
Disgusting.
guys. You just said it right there.
Disgusting. I'm here in Tennessee. Where are y'all at? I am in Iowa, and I believe he is in Kentucky. So, anyways, All right, I guess we'll let you go. I don't think there's any more fan questions, but I guess thanks for tuning in. I didn't see this coming really, but things happen, so.
Things do happen. The universe always delivers.
I hope. I hope the universe delivers.
As Bloomer says.
Well, and now I have your number, so I could start shopping you for midget and chili bow rides.
Yeah, phone's always up.
I'm pretty successful on shopping talent and dirt racing.
Hey, like I said, I'm up for the challenge in the micro.
All right. We'll see how it works. Thanks for calling. Thanks everybody else for tuning in. I guess we'll get out of here. And we'll catch you next time. I'll be sure to cut this up and put out some different clips throughout that me and Charlie hit on there, and even with Spike. 2 hours and 54 minutes, 3 hours have went by. Wow, it is late. Thanks for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. We will catch you next time here on Long Live the Chaz. That was Charlie Mefford and Spike Fast Racing